Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And thank you all for being here. I know this is late. What is cool? I was, again, laying down, watching some TV, hanging out with the wife for a few precious hours before stream time. And man, I'm realizing how much I need a haircut. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Is it nighttime? Does that mean I can have liquor without scrutiny? It's not a drinking problem if it's at night. I'm telling you, it's fine. Oh my goodness. So, hey, how's it going, guys? We've got some stuff to cover tonight, maybe today, tonight, whatever it is. I'll just finish this off. I've been sitting there for a little bit. We've got some stuff. These damn kids. Yes, I have headset band hair right here. This is where my headset has sat for the past 2.5 weeks. Oh my gosh. Tonight we've got some stuff. It has been released. The motion for mistrial has been obtained by the Daily Mail. Now you'd think that somebody would cover this monumental piece of the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And I'm going to tell you flat out, spoiler alert, this is actually a very explosive document. This is an explosive document, and there's stuff in there that I did not expect, and there's stuff missing from there that I did expect. And so we are going to take a peek at, oh my goodness, it's all warm in here. We're going to take a peek at the document. We're going to go through it. It's like 10, 12 pages. If you don't know, if you're new to this channel, one of the things that we often end up doing, I should turn on my air conditioner. One of the things that we often end up doing on here is going through court documents, because you don't always have a stream to watch, right? You don't always have a hearing that's videotaped. Sometimes, you're going off of motion practice and reading the filings, which can be dull. They certainly can be dull, but in this case, I don't think they're very dull. This is a tight document, and it is the motion for mistrial with prejudice in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse. Something we've been wondering what they're going to do with, when they're going to file it, and now we have the answer. So that is something big here. Whether or not the judge will rule on it prior to the jury coming back with a verdict is a different question. And according to Robert Barnes, I was on Geeks and Gamers with Robert Barnes a little bit earlier. Shout out to Geeks and Gamers crew, by the way. Oh my goodness. Jeremy, Ryan Cannell, and Eric July were on, along with Krigler, Adam Krigler. It was great. Great being on with those guys. Robert Barnes is on there, and he described the difference between basically the dismissal with prejudice prior to a jury ruling, saying that is non-appealable, and then after the jury ruling, it becomes appealable at that point. The state gets to appeal it. So that's the big difference here. But the issue for the judge is whether or not he wants to take the decision in this case out of the hands of the jury. And that's a real consideration. We know that Judge Schrader is aware of the media reporting on his on his performance, at least the mainstream media. He hasn't really indicated that he's been following anything on social media or anything like that. However, he does seem to be very aware of mainstream media reporting of his handling of the case. And he has seemed to be, for lack of a better word, mildly influenced by it. He, I don't know if that is true. I'm sure he would deny that to be the case, but there does seem to be some concern over the public image of the handling this case. And I'm not faulting him for that. The man's a human after all. Even if he is a judge and they're barely people, he is a human, and those considerations are real. They are always real. There's no level of judgeship where they become unreal. Anyone who has like high lofty aspirations of Supreme Courts being immune to it or whatever, they are not. They are not. How they are portrayed in the media, more importantly, how they handle their decision making, how their courtrooms are handled, that is all part of their consideration. And it shouldn't be, but it's impossible to divorce yourself from that, I suppose. I don't know. I'm not a judge, so I don't have to worry about that so much. My whole existence lately is in the media space of some sort, and so how that's baked into my role. Judges, it's a little different. Most of their stuff operates with very little public interest until they get a case like a Rittenhouse, and then everybody in the world suddenly cares about every decision that they've ever made. So we know that there's some consideration there. And because of that, I think it's unlikely that the judge would rule on this. He wants the perception and the reality that this is based on the reasoned decision of 12 jurors. Will he get that perception? Maybe. Will he get that reality? Almost guaranteed not. The jurors, no doubt, have already been influenced by the public perception of this case. And we got some indications of that, although they're not really confirmable today from the jury. Jack Posobiec was tweeting about his source indicating that some of the jurors were concerned about threats, doxing, and basically harassment if they return a certain verdict. They didn't say which one, but the implication was a not guilty verdict. The reason there's an implication is because there's no one on the right, apparently, who is out like protesting, chanting, threatening, putting out posts, doxing jurors, or anything like that. Haven't seen it. Maybe it exists, but it doesn't seem to be manifesting in the same way. So these jurors seem poised to, or if they're not, they seem poised to accept the reality that everybody else in that jury room is ready to acquit Kyle Rittenhouse. That's the only time you'd be actually concerned, as far as I can tell, is an acquittal. Because if he walks, city of Kenosha burns. If he doesn't walk, the city of Kenosha is going to burn too. That's the reality that maybe those jurors don't want to face. And it's the same people who's going to burn it down. That they're going to burn it down either way. But if Kyle Rittenhouse is acquitted, they believe that they are in more danger. And with that, I think the judge is not considering that fact. He thinks it's a more pure process because I don't know if he's fully aware of the difference in vitriolic discourse that exists today versus, I don't know, you could pick any time prior to the past 5 years, and everything has changed. So with that, we're going to read through the motion to dismiss. I'll tell you or motion for mistrial with prejudice. I'll tell you at the outset that I do believe that the judge will let this go to jury, and I don't think he will rule on it in a positive way for Kyle, unless potentially there comes back with a conviction. Then he may rule on the mistrial at that point. But I think he wants this to be mooted. I agree with Robert Barnes in that prediction. He wants the jury to come out, fully acquit Kyle, and then the motion is moot and he doesn't have to deal with it. And I think that is his preferred outcome. That being said, there was something else that happened today. in this case, sort of. It didn't happen today. It actually happened back on March 21st or something like that, March 29th. And I wanted to share this with you. July 31st, I'm sorry. There was a moment that happened at trial, at the closing argument specifically. Oh, and by the way, my editor is clipping out the closing arguments for each side with all of our commentary attached to it in their individual videos. So I'll be uploading the closing argument, the initial closing argument for the prosecution tonight. And then the closing argument for the defense might go up tomorrow night. And then the rebuttal, I think, would come up a little bit later. Also, my editor, poor guy, 9-hour streams. This man is this man is working hard on all these streams, getting through that, trying to find good clippable moments. I think today, if you didn't make it, was full of phenomenal discussion and segments. We had Andrew Branca on, who is a expert in self-defense, an expert, not a expert. I am a expert in Englishifying, but he is an expert in self-defense law across all 50 states and federally. He is the guy. He is on the stream today for significant amounts of time. We had a full invoice of lawyers. Robert Barnes is there as well. Legal Bites, Legal Mindset, Uncivil Law. We had Hogue Law. We had Joe. We had Emily Baker. We had Nate the lawyer. We had Viva Fry. We had everybody. I mean, everybody was there. My friend Matt Wilson was there as well. We had 10 people for a significant part of just waiting for jury instructions. And I thought it was going to be a small stream. Because there was relative to the other Rittenhouse trial days, I thought it was going to be maybe like this stream, like 10 to 15,000 people. That's not a small stream, but it's small relative to having 70, right? Because I thought people weren't going to be super interested sitting around waiting for jury instructions. But we had such engaging conversation on all sorts of legal topics, both related to Kyle and otherwise, that I think people were just they were just stuck. They were glued to it. And so my editor is going to be going through that stream and looking for great moments, great conversations to clip out. And this is what you can expect kind of going forward on the channel. I've talked about this for months and months and months, getting ready for this thing where there would be probably some live content during the day, and that content would be clipped, and that clipped content would provide sort of VOD, video on demand, shorter content as well. So that's the idea. That's where we've been rolling, and the Rittenhouse trial has provided an excellent springboard, I think, to do that and to cover daytime topics, these big news stories as they're happening. Bring on more lawyers, have more panel discussions. It's a lot easier to bring guests on in the daytime. So I think we'll see a lot more of that, and then we should see some highlight sort of clips coming. So thank you for hanging out. And I don't know why I'm explaining all this to you, but I just ramble at the beginning of shows. It's a habit. Getting back to it. Where was I? If you don't remember during closing arguments, this is where we were. There's a closing argument moment when either Binger or Krause, I think it was Krause, mentioned that, good Lord, that Photo Chad talked to a blogger who has been critical of their office. Do you guys remember that? Photo Chad spoke to the media, and the media happened to be a blog that has been critical of the Kenosha County Prosecutor's Office. And it was really, really interesting to have that come up. Well, the blog is the Kenosha County Eye. And today, someone sent me the thing I think that may have made them mad. So I figured we'd look at that, and then we'll do the motion to dismiss. This won't be too long. This is a short thing. Here we go. Here we go. Also, big shout out to my peeps on Odyssey as well. Thank you guys for hanging out. I think the stream has started. Yes, the stream over on Odyssey is going, and it's going great. So thank you for watching over there. I'm a big fan of alternative platforms, and so if you are into alternative platforms, there will be more and more streaming happening on Odyssey. I'm going to be simulcasting there along with YouTube because I want to support the platform. I want to support the audience that's over there and provide them with the same live content that I provide on YouTube. So, here we go. Here is this. One of the Kyle Rittenhouse prosecutors to resign. The other has been living with a Kenosha judge. Sources. All right. So we have ADA Jason Zapp, who we saw in early Kyle Rittenhouse hearings on Zoom. And we also have ADA T. Claire Binger. T. Claire Binger. And I do need to keep up with super chats, of course. Let me see. I know a couple of those came in before the show. Yes, by the way, his middle name is Claire, for anyone who is curious. A lot of people are surprised by that. No, it's not a troll. Yes, it's real. Not that there's anything wrong with having a middle name of Claire, right? Like, that's fine. I don't know why you guys would suggest that is anything. What the hell? Oh, I'm on the wrong spot. Why that is weird. Leave Claire alone. Guys, seriously, guys, stop it. All right, I got to get just to the pre-stream chats here real quick before I lose those. Okay, from Macca Jr. says, still trying to catch up and just saw the provocation argument on Friday. Massive blunder. This case has been wild. I'm enjoying your coverage. William Smith says, I'm glad this show has blown up over the past couple weeks, but I've been in this here chat for a few years now, and I kind of can't wait till life on Lost Planning begins returning to normal. All hail the Griff King. Yeah, I actually am really hoping that this trial wraps up soon. Not that I don't love it. It's just the 9-hour streams are really tough. So I would like a shorter daytime stream for normal stuff, along with the normal nighttime stream. Silverfish says, do you think the judge will dismiss with prejudice? I'm hesitant to think that. I fear that his faith in the Kenosha community may cloud him from making the smart decision. Also, Krigler versus Rekieta charity boxing match. When does he even do that? Darth Crypto. Nick, we have a Brady violation. Oh, we're going to talk about it, buddy. I told Joe about this a few days ago. I have had all the files. They withheld the footage until after they testified. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And we are going to talk about it tonight. Nicholas Senard says, if you ever cover a case about IP, might I recommend Stephen Kinsella, patent lawyer, wants IP abolished. He has written a book on it and covered it a ton. Yeah, I'd be interested in talking to him for sure. Tall Skinny Geek says, Nick, I'm sad to learn of the recent atrazine spill that damaged all your clocks. And well, Austin McConnell says, Gate and Lay, Rick, Lego, Lad, play well. Says, on a scale of 1 to Disbar, how effed is Binger? Also, did you see my Winston Payne super chat from a few days ago? I have not seen your Winston Payne super chat. Sorry, I have to catch up on all those. But I don't think Binger will suffer any consequences personally. He should. Let's be real about this. He absolutely should suffer some consequences, but I don't think he will. Tall Skinny Geek says the jury is back in the courtroom and the judge is providing instructions they can actually understand. Pull up the live stream quickly. Okay, stop that. Kevin Hunts says, why isn't anyone talking about the Ahmaud Arbery trial? Day 7, clearly self-defense. Any take on that case? Kevin, I would love to be talking about the Ahmaud Arbery trial, but I haven't been able to follow it because I've been covering Kyle Rittenhouse, and like my awareness of things outside of Kyle right now is so low because it's every day, my whole day. And then once I get done streaming, I kind of tune out, go hang out with the wife and kids and get things ready, and then maybe do a stream at night. But I have not been following it. I know the prosecution rested today, and we'll see. But it looks when that trial started, I thought the McMichaels were going to be found guilty. Now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure at all. And they may have a colorable defense claim. So we'll see. Things got real muddy in that case. They haven't really gotten muddy in Kyle's case. Sonny Gonzalez says, Raggeds, you are awesome and we love you. Hey, thank you. Mr. Obi-Wan 2020 says, congrats on going viral, my guy. Got a lawyer for my mom's probate and getting everything well in hand. The Rittenhouse coverage has been helping me get through staying busy with cleanup. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, man. And I'm glad you got an attorney helping you out there. Probate can be a long and frustrating process. CBDX.com says, just a reminder to everyone, our Delta 8 products will literally get you bailed legally. We love you. And Ricada is a deep savings on our site. CBDX, I meant to respond to you guys. I just haven't. I will try and do that tonight. And then Sonny Gonzalez says in lemon voice, you will not understand this probably, some of the chat, but don't forget us con sluts. Lemoyne is a very interesting lawyer down in Houston, Texas, who barely has any lung power. And that is the least of his issues. But that being said, I did not want to do that. Where did we go? Where did the stream go? Apologies for that. I accidentally waved a window. When you wave a window now on Windows, it gets rid of all windows because that's what they want. Okay. So here we go. So this is Kyle Rittenhouse is 17 years old when he shot and killed convicted pedophile and convicted woman beater during the Kenosha riots. No bones about this. I'm not going to read all of this. Zap, he moved to a different place. Who cares? This doesn't matter. What does matter is this. T. Claire Binger, just a couple bros hanging out on a boat or whatever. On the left is Kenosha Judge Chad Kirkman, and on the right is T. Claire Binger. And it has also come to light in conjunction with the story I'm about to read that at one point, T. Claire Binger had an email address, Flufferboy2004. Now, that is not fully confirmed, I guess. I don't know how to confirm it more. But Flufferboy2004 is allegedly a prior email address of T. Claire Binger. So, you got to take what you will on that one. Take that how you want it. I don't know what to say. I don't know what, I don't know what to tell you on that one. But that's what's going on there. Let's read this story of Chad and why isn't his name Tyrone? This would be the love story of Chad and Tyrone. Why is the T not for Tyrone? Oh, God. Okay. We were also tipped off that T. Claire Binger has been living at least in small lengths at a time. What small lengths has he been living? With one of his best friends, Kenosha Judge Chad Kirkman. We aren't able to tell you if they're still living together or for how long. We reached T. Claire by email during a fiery exchange. He refused to answer our questions about his living arrangements, instead, calling this publication cowardly. We also reached out to Judge Kirkman, who didn't wish to comment. Kirkman was recently elected for another 6 years. So, that's what's been going on in T. Claire Binger's life, and may this image be seared into your mind. May this image be seared into your mind forever. That is that. Look, it's just two bros on a boat with a football, some weird blankety things. They're all good. Oh man, don't you wish like you could play music on YouTube? I would have Hanging with the Boys from Top Gun just playing, like Hanging with the Boys. Oh god. Oh my goodness. Uh so there's that. There is that. That is a thing that happened today. Um yeah. Uh all right, let's pull up this document. This news story. It's not just a document, it's also a news story. This is from the Daily Mail. And this is the important event of the evening. Where is my I am wait, what? What? I don't know what the hell that is. Okay. Oh boy, it's toasty. This is the story that I was talking about earlier. This is the motion to dismiss. So I've got all these tabs open. I feel like Ryan Cannell. I got tabs everywhere, and it's distracting me. And I'm trying to work StreamYard into my workflow a little bit better. And I'm real and also managing Odyssey, monitoring the Odyssey chat as well, which I am not good at yet. Not good at all. So I'll be better. I'm working on it. So this is the Daily Mail exclusive. Now, we'll read their take on it, and then we will read the motion, which is it's in the body of the article here. Prosecutors in Kenosha shooter trial withheld high definition video evidence from the defense that was at the center of their case and initially shared a lower quality version of drone footage from the night of Kyle Rittenhouse shooting. ADA attorney Thomas Littlefinger Binger initially shared low quality drone footage from the night of the shooting with the defense. The defense claims Binger only shared the high definition footage after evidence had closed on Sunday. According to a motion filed today, the problem is the prosecution gave the defense a compressed version of the video. Highly, highly compressed. And we'll talk about it. You know what? I actually don't want the Daily Mail's take. I'm sure it's fine. Let's people can read their article if they want. Let's look at the motion. Let's do this. Opal Dragon 75, don't you lie about me, you motherfucker. Don't you ever lie about me again. I will send Binger to your house and he will fluffer boy you all the way back to 2004, big boy. Don't you lie about me. Okay, sorry. That was personal and need to be dealt with. All right, so here's the motion for mistrial with prejudice. Comes now the defendant Kyle Rittenhouse, appearing specially by his attorneys Mark Richards, and Corey Shirafisi. Upon all the files, records, and recordings heretofore and herein respectfully moves this court for an entry of an order granting a mistrial with prejudice. As grounds for this motion, the defendant asserts as the following. All right. So here are the grounds for the mistrial. We've been waiting to see this. This was not filed until yesterday, the 15th, after court, I believe. I believe it was. On August 18th, 2021, the state filed a second other acts motion seeking to admit evidence regarding a video showing the defendant sitting in a vehicle having a discussion regarding what he would like to do to people he believed were looting. The other acts motion was heard. So they have to lay the background of their complaint about one of the things Binger did here. That other acts motion was heard along with additional other acts motions filed by the state on September 17th, 2021. Notes from CCAP indicate the court was taking under advisement with a bias against admitting the evidence. The state did not file a motion for reconsideration on any of their motions. On November 8th, 2021, Kyle Rittenhouse chose to exercise his right to testify in his defense. Prior to testimony, the court conducted a colloquy with Mr. Rittenhouse regarding his rights. Further, the court inquired about other areas of possible injury, including Wisconsin statutes 906.08 and 904.04. The state indicated they believe the court left the door open on some of those things. All right. The court then indicated that after thinking about it, there was nothing that the court heard in the case that would change the court's mind on any of the rulings. So the judge said, this is prior to the trial, or prior to the trial that day. They had before the jury's in the room, he had the colloquy and asked Rittenhouse about his rights, and then said, is there anything else going on? And yeah, the state said that they thought the door was open. Court said, no, the door's not open. The door's not open. All of my rulings that I've issued pretrial are still here. They're still in effect. This was the day when Binger would actually try to undo this order effectively in front of the jury. This is what made the judge so mad. That morning, the judge had checked and then it said, I'm affirming my orders. None of that evidence is coming in. This is important. The court, yeah. So they had not heard anything that would change the court's mind on any of the rulings. The court then stated, unless there is something else on that, the state did not indicate they had anything else to say about that ruling. So they're going ahead and heading off this idea that maybe the state had preserved the right to ask or had asked in some way. That never happened. So on cross-examination, the state asked the defendant, since August 25th, 2020, this is the first time you told this story. The court sustained the defense's objection. Shortly thereafter, the prosecution stated to the defendant that he sat through the trial, had an opportunity to watch videos played in court. He had opportunity to listen to the testimony of all 30 witnesses that testified. And after all that, now you are telling your side of the story, which, by the way, is your constitutional right. There's two big constitutional rights at play in this analysis. First is your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, right? That is obvious. You don't have to ever say anything, and you cannot. The state is not allowed to draw any inference on your decision to say or not say anything to the state. They can't do it. They can't comment on it. They can't breathe in its direction. They can't shoot spitballs at a target that has it on there. You can't do anything about it. The state is just not allowed. It's what makes this so egregious. But worse yet, there's another constitutional right that they're talking about that the state is implicating. The defendant has an absolute right to confront his accuser. Any accusers are to be confronted by the defendant themselves. They get to be there. They get to listen. They get to hear what the person is saying about them, because it's a lot easier to lie about someone if they're not in the room. It's a lot easier to lie about someone to someone else if that person isn't there to challenge it, right? We see this on Twitter constantly. You can go on Twitter and say whatever lie you want about anybody. And in fact, some of those lies that people say end up destroying the lives and careers of various people. Didn't Zoe Quinn kill someone that way? Didn't she basically, using the power of social media, bully a guy into self deletion? I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's extremely devastating. The lucky ones are the ones who just lose their jobs. Less lucky are the ones who lose their careers and who lose their personal reputations. And then, of course, the worst off are the ones who lose everything, including their lives, all based on a careless lie from someone else. So the idea that the justice only comes when you get the opportunity to confront your accusers. If your accusers can just say whatever they want and block you, and block everybody who follows you, and block everybody who's ever heard of you, block anyone who speaks negatively, then that's not justice. Social media isn't anything about justice. There's no notion of it in social media. And that's the big difference. That's why the court system is supposed to be a better place to adjudicate these things, because you have the right to confront your accuser. They can't hide behind software. They can't hide behind anonymity, except in very, very, very rare cases. And they're not even anonymous to the defendant. They're anonymous to the outside world. They can't hide behind these things unless they lie, right? But that is justice. And that was implicated. That was another right that was implicated by the state in this case at the same time as the Fifth Amendment right. You don't get to criticize someone for hearing their accusers. That's their constitutional right. Okay. That question required the court to excuse the jury and remind the state that the defendant has a constitutional right to post-arrest silence. The court indicated that the prosecution was either over the line or right up on the line, and that the court didn't want any other problems. Then, after being warned about post-arrest silence, the state violated the court's order regarding the admission of other acts evidence by asking the defendant, "You have previously indicated that you wished you had your AR-15 to protect someone's property." The court again admonished the state for violation of the previous court order. Now, I've been very, very much defending Judge Schrader in this case. I think he's been a wonderful judge throughout the trial. But his big flub here is actually not dismissing the case immediately with prejudice at the time that this happened. It would have been dramatic, it would have been correct, and it would have sent a clear message to bad faith prosecutors about what their ethical obligations and responsibilities are. You violate the rights of the defendant, you're fucking done. That's what should have happened. And I will be critical of Judge Schrader on that. He was weak on this issue, and he should have shut the whole case down. I don't care about the political fallout. This is what should happen. And it should happen anytime your Fifth Amendment rights are violated so brazenly in front of a jury. Remember, the jury is in the room when Binger is doing this. And then the prior acts that the judge had already ruled on is just the icing on the cake. The Fifth Amendment violation is enough. The fact that they had 3 significant constitutional violations. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. You're out. I don't care how fast the pitches came. Binger is used to catching fast pitches. Believe it. Believe that. And he's used to catching them from judges, apparently. So we know this should come as no surprise to Binger. In fact, he may have wanted it. But the fact that that would line up with his desires, his political aspirations, does not actually matter, because it favors the defendant who is at the mercy of the state on a bogus prosecution. And that is critical. Again, it's always about the party being prejudiced. And if the defendant is prejudiced by the actions of the state, who has all of the power. Remember, yeah, theoretically, there are people with more money than a state, right? Elon Musk probably has more money than several states, right? He's got $205 billion or whatever it is. Uh, he has more resources than some states have access to, which is amazing to think of. But no matter what state Elon Musk is in, if he's in that state, they have the absolute authority to deprive him of essential liberty and effectively of life. The state will always wield 300 billion. What's another 100 billion amongst friends? The state will always be able to wield that ultimate authority no matter how much money you have. I mean, money can buy you excellent access to the justice system, but if the state wants to exercise its police power and can justify itself in doing so, there's no amount of money that will save you from the state being involved in taking away your liberty. You have to go outside of the state. You have to ask the feds and hope that you're not dead by the time you get a response, right? The power disparity between the individual and the state is monumental. It is orders of magnitude, and no amount of money bridges the gap. So when the state will come down on the average person, on an 18-year-old kid, middle class kid working in Kenosha, the state will come down with all of its force upon that kid. If they prejudice the defendant in any way, disrespecting the rights, it is my opinion that the person should walk. And I don't care how many people they just murdered. The state needs to do its job. And the reason the state needs to do its job, because if it does its job on the guilty people, right? So let's say this is a meth dealer, someone just dealing out meth to school children specifically. Guy goes to kindergartens and gives them all meth, and he's on trial. And the state doesn't do its job, doesn't respect his constitutional rights. He has to walk. And the reason he has to walk is because the next guy isn't giving meth to the kids. The next guy is giving a penis to kids. The next guy is Joseph Rosenbaum, raping children. And that guy, if he walks because the state got lazy from all of the other times they violated someone's rights and got away with it, if the state violates Rosenbaum's rights and he walks when everyone else, because of the laziness on every other thing, that's the crime. That's the awfulness. That's why we want them to do their job and why we must hold them to the standard set by the Constitution. It's not a high bar. Think about the constitutional standard that you get. Honestly, you have the right to an attorney, which means the state can provide you a shit attorney. Not all public defenders are shit. A lot of them are really, really good at their jobs. But the state doesn't have to give you a really good public defender. You may get a good one. You may get a bad one. So the state has to provide you with an attorney on some level between shit and shinola. The state has to give you a trial, has to offer you the right to a speedy trial, has to respect your right to remain silent, and has to abide by the Fourth Amendment on search and seizure issues. That's literally it. That's all they have to do. And they fail at it with regularity. They don't get called out. But think about the damage that does. Again, if they screw up on the wrong case, a pedophile goes free. That's why we need this stuff. That's why we need strict enforcement at the time that it happens. That's why Schrader should have dismissed the case in front of the jury, in front of the media, in front of the world, and said, nope, dismissed with prejudice. You can't violate people's constitutional rights in my court. If you'll give me just a second, these kids. All right, apologies. Apologies. Woo! These kids, man, they are they are a little bit rambunctious. All right. You would have finished a thought if it weren't for these meddling kids. Exactly. No, I was finished. I was just reiterating the same thought over and over and over again because it's so important. Judge Schrader should have dismissed this case at the time because we have to hold prosecutors accountable for their actions. We really do. They carry all the benefits of the state. They need to live up to the responsibility that entails. All right. The defendant moved for a mistrial with prejudice. The court indicated that it would take the motion under advisement. After lengthy comment, the prosecutor then stated, "I thought my good faith belief you had left the door open a little bit. Now we had something new and I was going to probe it." The court responded, "I don't believe you. I don't believe you." Engine Idiot says, "Hey, Rackets, you can enjoy 70% of my super chat or 95% of my Odyssey tip. What do you choose?" Look, I'm liking Odyssey. I'm liking Odyssey's system. I really am. Pierce Smith says, "Moved from YouTube to give you some dough without YouTube's grubby fingers, besmirching it. Hearing the earlier comments about going viral, I think you owe Legal Mindset some. His look at Big Boy during that magical facepalm moment is what hooked me on the trial. No idea how false narrative was. Had no idea how false the narrative was." Yeah, no, this case has been amazing. Amazing because everybody has come into it with their perception of what the facts are. And so many people, especially mainstream media slaves, have had their eyes opened. They've had their eyes opened. Not all of them are buying the mainstream media narrative, and it's really nice to see. Okay. So he took it under advisement. Court said, "Don't believe you on the good faith bit." Here is the bombshell paragraph. On November 5th, 2021, the fifth day of trial in this case, the prosecution turned over to the defense footage of a drone video which captured some of the incident from August 25th, 2020. The problem is the prosecution gave the defense a compressed version of the video. What that means is the video provided to the defense was not as clear as the video kept by the state. The full size of the defense video is 3.6 megabytes, and the state's is 11.2 megabytes. Further, the dimensions on our video, the defendants, are 480 by 212. The state's is 1920 by 844. So think about what that means. That means when the state is asserting that Kyle is raising a gun or whatever, they're operating with 4 times as many pixels of height, right? That means when you think about this, Kyle on the defense's video is literally 10 pixels or less. It's 212 pixels of height. Kyle is this big. He's tiny on the screen. We're talking about an impossible difference in resolution. Anthony James on Odyssey did the math. 101,760 pixels versus 1,620,480 pixels. You're talking about almost 16 times as many actual pixels. It's insane how different these videos actually are. And when you combine that with the fact that the state knows The defense has a video expert, an expert witness that they've qualified through a Dober hearing to talk about video manipulation, and information contained in it. He was much more competent than the state's witness. They know that they have Dr. John Black, who can take this video at full resolution and take care of it, right? They know they have him. And listen to this. We actually saw this happen in real time, but we didn't know how it was happening. In fact, I made a joke kind of making fun of what happened, but this is when they're at their hearing, their colloquy, I should say. They're having their hearing about this. Fucking kids. They're having a hearing about this video clip, right? It's when the state is arguing that they want to bring this footage in, and they have the expert, and they want to bring the provocation instruction. So I guess it was jury instructions. They want the provocation instruction, and they're all sitting around watching that TV. And we can't see the TV very well because it's a camera looking at a TV that's a little bit away, and we can see everybody else. But the state says our version is clearer. Our version is clearer. And the defense is like, don't we have the same video? They're like, well, it's the same one from the Dropbox or whatever. Apparently not. Apparently they didn't. They said theirs is playing weird, is how they worded it. I didn't think anything of this at the time because I'm like, they don't have a different video. Of course they don't have a different video. That would be insane because the state is obligated to provide the same video. The state is obligated to give them the same evidence. And yet they didn't. They gave them something different. And we saw it in real time, and I had no idea. We found 40,000 pixels around 4 a.m. It's the reason I didn't think that they would have different video files is because this is it's so egregious. It's so egregiously wrong to do this. And you would never think that the state would be so careless or intentional as to literally provide you something different. They're going to show this to the court. They know they're going to show this to the court. It's the predicate of their case. It would be a catastrophically risky move. But they did it. They did it. This is what's called a Brady violation. All right. The state has an obligation to provide the defense with all of the same evidence that the state has access to. I would argue there have been several Brady violations in this case. We heard about another one today involving Jump Kick Man. But this is rumor right now. The Jump Kick Man one is a rumor. I'll explain the rumor. The state represented to the court that they were unable to ascertain the identity of Jump Kick Man, right? They had no idea who he was. They would love to. They would love to find him, have a complaining witness. They would love to have him come testify. They had no idea who Jump Kick Man was. They told the court they didn't know who this guy was. Oh, we put out stuff. We were looking for him. We just couldn't find it. We just couldn't find it, right? Except apparently that's not true. Jump Kick Man allegedly approached the Kenosha County District Attorney's office asking for immunity on his several other crimes in exchange for testimony in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Now, the state wasn't going to give him immunity because his other crimes are felony level crimes. And so they declined. But that means they knew. They knew exactly who he was. Which means they had a duty, a constitutionally required duty to turn over that information to the defense so that they could interview Jump Kick Man. They could put him on the witness list like they did with the Zeminskis, for example. They could have done it. But the state represented to the court that they didn't know who he was. Now that I don't think is in here because I don't think anybody knew who Jump Kick Man was until today when he was found out. Well, other than the state seems to have known. But I don't know if they will supplement their motion for a mistrial with that, but that would be a Brady violation as well. They have to disclose this stuff because otherwise it's not a fair trial. It's not a fair trial. All right, so back to where we were. We're down here. The video, which was in the state's possession, wasn't provided to the defense until after the trial concluded. During the jury instructions conference, the defense played their version of the video for the court to review. The state indicated their version was much clearer and had their tech person come into court to have the court review the clearer video. The video is the same. The resolution of that video, however, was not. The state did not provide their quality video to the defense until Saturday, November 13th, 2021, and only did so upon specific request by attorney Wisco 2 days before closing arguments and after the evidence had been closed. So they already have this. They already have all the evidence in. They tried to challenge this video, but they didn't really get to. They didn't really get to challenge the video. They could have maybe mounted a bigger challenge, but they had different source material. Ordinarily, where mistrial is granted on the motion of the defendant, it is presumed that defendant has made the election to abandon the valuable right of being tried before a single tribunal. However, a different rule applies when the mistrial motion is induced by prosecutorial overreaching. In such a case, it is asserted the constitutional prohibition against double jeopardy will bar retrial. So this is a mistrial with prejudice, right? This is with prejudice. They cannot bring the charges back because the state's conduct is egregious. The state doesn't get to bring those charges again. The state doesn't get to screw up and then re-harass a defendant. That's the idea. But if you move for a mistrial for some other reason, you don't get that benefit. The state has to give you that, is what this is saying. The following elements are required in order to bar retrial of a defendant who moved for and obtained mistrial due to alleged prosecutorial overreaching. 1, the prosecutor's action must be intentional in the sense of a culpable state of mind in the nature and awareness that his activity would be prejudicial to the defendant. Bad faith. This is bad faith quintessentially, what they're talking about. The judge has said, I don't believe that you did this in good faith. He also said that this, that asking about the Fifth Amendment violation or asking about his Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent has been the law for 50 years of time. Only the 50 years though. So it's been that way for longer than Binger has been alive. And that is critical here because there's no way that Binger learned something else and made a mistake. Wasn't an accident. Prior acts evidence that they tried to sneak in through the backdoor Binger, right? Just that morning, the judge had reaffirmed his motion or reaffirmed his orders on the motions. And so there again, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. Binger can apologize for it. And then, of course, with the Brady violation, they have an obligation to provide this evidence. Why would you even have a compressed version of the video to give to the defense? Why does a compressed version of the video even exist? That's a question that we need to ask. There is no purpose for the state to have a quarter resolution version of that video. None. If anybody can think of a reason why the state would have a quarter resolution version of the video, I would love to hear it. All right. Number 2. Carl Jobst, good question. He says, which version was shown in court? The one that was shown in court was the high res version. The one that was given to the defense was the low res. So number 2, The prosecutor's action was designed either to create another change to convict, that is, provoke a mistrial in order to get another kick at the cat because the first trial is going badly, or to prejudice the defendant's rights to successfully complete the criminal confrontation at the first trial. I think they actually have both. I think there is evidence, certainly, that the state's case was going very poorly, has been going poorly. Their witnesses were not cooperative. If they wanted, they won't do this. They won't do this, but it would be great. It would be great if they just put a compilation of every time Krause did this, Binger had his sad sound of silence face, or shook his head, or every time Krause yelled at the judge or yelled at the jury or yelled at the witness, all of those times, if they just put a compilation video of those things together, be like, is the trial going well for the defense? When they look dejected, or for the state, when they look dejected, when they look like they're losing because they know they've been losing. So that's one thing. So if they can provoke a mistrial, they can get the kick at the cat. That kind of looks like that Fifth Amendment violation. The other is to prejudice the defendant's rights to successfully complete the criminal confrontation, which they need to supplement this with Jump Kick Man, if that can be verified in any way. That Jump Kick Man approached the prosecutor's office and asked them for immunity, as has been reported. They need to supplement that because their refusal to provide the identity of Jump Kick Man and their misrepresentation of the court is, again, clear violations. But even so, the Brady violation, by not providing the defense with the same video that the prosecution is going to use, they necessarily prejudice the defendant's rights to successfully complete the criminal confrontation. Think about it this way. We've seen the video, right, from guys like Darth Crypto, they've been able to expand the video and show how it's actually a car mirror and not Kyle and all that stuff. The defense literally could not do that. They didn't have a high enough resolution video. If the defense were to take their video, they're working with 212 vertical pixels here. And so if they blow that up to try and look at what the state's looking at, they're seeing an even worse image than what the state brought. So in doing so, it hampered their ability to adequately confront the evidence. They weren't able to actually address it. So does it prejudice the defendant's rights to complete the criminal confrontation? Absolutely. Absolutely. The prosecutor's conduct was clearly intentional. Initially, he asked the defendant about post-arrest silence, and that objection was sustained. He then did it again moments later. Further, prior to the defendant taking the stand, the court not only foreclosed the introduction of other acts evidence, the court stated unless there is something else on that, and the state said nothing. Shortly thereafter, they violated the court ruling. That behavior by the state was intentional, and he knew it would be prejudicial to the defendant. He had previously attempted to get the evidence admitted as a bad act. That's why they're trying to do it. Oh my gosh. I'll be right back. Bruh. Oh my goodness. These kids. Okay. Point 16. As it relates to the compressed drone footage, the prosecution should be required to explain to the court why they did not copy footage for the defendant with the same quality as their copy. No, they should not. They should not be required to explain anything. Just dismiss the case. Just dismiss the case. That's what should have happened. There's no explain. Done. Because if they explain, maybe the court goes, oh, okay, harmless error. No, this is not a harmless error. Not harmless at all. The video footage has been at the center of this case. The idea that the state would provide lesser quality footage and then use that footage as a linchpin in their case, and it is the very reason that they requested and were granted the provocation instruction by the court. And it is. They have made this footage was the key to everything because Rosenbaum has always been the critical criminal element, right? Rosenbaum has always been the thing that the crime that matters. If Rosenbaum is a murder, then everything else is a murder. If Rosenbaum or a criminal act, I should say. If Rosenbaum is self-defense, then everything else that follows is self-defense. Rosenbaum's encounter is the critical element of Kyle's state of mind for the rest of the night. Period. So, they have made this video the key to their provocation argument on Rosenbaum. It is what they have based their entire closing argument on. This idea that he raised his gun at the Zeminskis, that he provoked Joseph Rosenbaum into chasing him like a maniac, rather than Joseph Rosenbaum's sexual attraction to children making him chase the child like a maniac, that that is the reason, or that the jury should find Kyle Rittenhouse guilty. It's not some incidental piece of evidence. It's not some off statement by a detective. This is the key. The failure to provide the same quality footage in this particular case is intentional and clearly prejudices the defendant. This record has bad faith on the part of the prosecutor. We know that because he attempted to inform the court of his good faith basis for asking questions regarding the inadmissible evidence and was told, I don't believe you. If it is not a good faith basis for seeking admissions of previously excluded evidence, then it is bad faith. The court has made the statement that it does not believe the prosecutor's statement. It is reasonable to conclude the court believes bad faith was involved. Further, the outcome of this case is in no way a foregone conclusion for the state. Unlike the facts of Copening, and yes, to all of the people out there who have been on the internet a while, there is literally a case called Copening, the Copening, in which the trial court stated at that point in the court's view, Mr. Zapf could have gone on vacation and not argued the case, and it probably would have been difficult for you, the defense counsel, to convince the jury that they should find him not guilty. Now, that's interesting. Mr. Zapf was a prosecutor on the Rittenhouse case before, right? We just talked about that in the article. So that's the harmless error thing, right? Even if they had given the same evidence, if they had complied with their, and I hate harmless error. I think it's false. I don't think there is a harmless error by the state. It's just prejudicial or not prejudicial. That's all. But in the case of harmless error, like, let's say that they forgot to provide a non-critical piece of evidence, and that evidence would have made no difference to the outcome of the trial. Like, obviously no difference. Maybe it's just cumulative evidence in some way, just reinforcing some other point, or the jury doesn't even decide on that element, then it doesn't matter. That's the statement. But in this case, obviously, this is a critical element of their prosecution. In fact, they played this drone footage at closing argument. All right. The testimony in this case, up to that point, had not gone very well for the prosecution Mr. Grosskreutz acknowledged that he was worried for the defendant's safety when Jump Kick Man and Anthony Huber were attacking him. Mr. Grosskreutz stated that any time head trauma was involved, it was a concern, thereby assisting the defendant's self-defense claim for Jump Kick Man and Anthony Huber. Further, Mr. Grosskreutz testified that the defendant did not fire at him until he advanced on the defendant with his gun pointing at the defendant, thereby providing a reasonable basis for self-defense on that charge. Testimony by the medical examiner was also problematic for the state. Dr. Kelly testified that the soot on Mr. Rosenbaum's hand made it likely he was holding onto the barrel of the defendant's firearm when he was shot, which supports the testimony of Richie McGinnis. The state has repeatedly violated instructions from the court, acted in bad faith, and intentionally provided technological evidence which was different from theirs. For those reasons, the defendant respectfully requests this court to find prosecutorial overreaching existed, that overreaching was intentional and in bad faith, and thereby grant the defendant's motion for a mistrial with prejudice. There we go. That is the motion, and it is concise and pretty good. Pretty good. Hard to argue with it. The jump kick man revelations, they did not know yesterday, I do not believe. That was reported today. And so those revelations should be added in a supplemental brief. They really should. If anybody out there has contact, not anybody can email, but if anybody out there who happens to see this has reliable contact with the defense, they gotta get Jump Kick Man and the state knowing his identity. They've got to get that supplemented into the brief, in my opinion. That would be a misrepresentation of the court, and they may actually get sanctions for that, if that can be proven. Like, you cannot lie to the court about, you should not lie to the court about stuff like that. That is how you get ethical violations. That's how you get in a lot of trouble. So, I, however, am not on the defense team, right? I'm just a humble internet commentator who happens to have opinions on how things might be done in different or additional ways than what's going on. So I'm not, I've never talked to Kyle's defense team, and I don't suspect I ever will. But that is, again, that is something that should be added as a supplemental motion or supplement to this motion. There you go. That's what I got on Rittenhouse tonight. We got through that in just over an hour. That's not bad. That's not bad. I wasn't too meandery and rambly, and that includes you guys. That includes 2 reprimandings of children, right? Oh my gosh. So here we go. So, this is amazing. I love how this works. I love how this works. I just got an email. Okay. Earlier today, I was talking about public defenders. I just got an email. Thank you. Thank you for that. During the show, this is from, I won't name her, but this is a public defender in Minnesota, who says, today, I mentioned that public defenders in Minnesota have 50 to 90 cases, right? And I was talking about just how much work public defenders actually end up doing. Again, there are good public defenders, there are bad public defenders. But the reality that all public defenders face is the caseload. The caseload is huge. I said 50 to 90. They said their current caseload, get this, like think about how hard this is for them and for their clients. 287 current cases. Them's a lot of files. Them's a lot of files. That's a lot of work. So thank you to the wonderful public defender out there who sent me an email. Again, I will not release your identity because it's weird. But thank you for that clarification. I was trying to impress upon people just how many files that public defenders had to deal with, and turns out I was off by what's a factor of 7? No, that'd be 40. I said 50 to 90. So I guess only a factor of 5. That's not so bad. It's insanity. It is insanity how much that is. Like how okay. Wow. I wanted to look for one more thing because I have not done this in a little bit. I don't think Richards is gonna take a call from Barnes, if I had to guess. So I don't know, telling Barnes to call Richards. I don't know if that's gonna work. To me, it sounded like their split was somewhat south of amicable. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, this is funny. I don't know what to do. So I've been following this case. I'm following this case, and I was checking to see if there were any major updates, and there's not anything I want to go through tonight. I'm actually probably going to do super chats and wrap up the show in just a second. But let me tell you about this case, because you guys are watching this this Kyle Rittenhouse case, this little side case in American law, something that is this barely even important. What you don't understand is there's a much more important case out there. There's a much more important case out there, and it is the case of Scott v. Wise County Social Services. More importantly, the party that the case is still active against is a party named Moon. Joshua Moon is a villain, and you have to understand that. And the hero is Scott, Miss Melinda Scott. She is the champion of law for the little people, and she is someone that that not only knows the law but is actually better at the law than pretty much any attorney I've ever seen. Her aptitude for law is remarkable, literally, because I'm remarking on it. So this is Melinda Scott. This is a case in federal court in Virginia, and Melinda, despite being an excellent attorney, has lost this case. And it's really shocking because her legal acumen is unparalleled. I mean, Alan Dershowitz, who's even that? Erwin Chemerinsky, the little dweeb who writes law textbooks. These are peasants in the presence of Melinda Scott. But she is suing Joshua Moon. Joshua Moon is the owner of a website called Kiwi Farms, which is a New Zealand agricultural site. Okay. But, people on this New Zealand agricultural site have posted opinions about other people, and some of them include Melinda Scott. Anyway, I've been following along this case for a while. Melinda Scott has asserted over and over and over, and this is really interesting. She knows more than everyone else, that magistrate judges are not allowed to issue orders in federal cases at all without the consent of both parties, right? So this is her theory. Now, she's a scholar, so I'm gonna I'm not going to contradict her on this, but she says that if your case in federal court is assigned a federal magistrate judge rather than a federal district judge, right? That you must consent. Both parties must consent to the federal magistrate's authority before the magistrate can issue orders, which is very interesting. So she has stated that the magistrate's prior order is not actually validly enforceable against her because she didn't consent to it. What's super interesting though, and this is where this case gets really complex. She has asked for an order from the court redacting a particular document that was filed. She's asked that that document, which contains personal information, be filed under seal, right? That the court make it confidential by court order. And we finally have a ruling on that court order or on that request. And it's in favor of Melinda because she's right. She is leagues above any attorney. And she says that this document should be confidential. She asked the court to say it so. And the court has agreed with her. However, there's a problem. Melinda Scott has not consented to a magistrate judge, but a magistrate judge ruled that the order should be sealed. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what she's supposed to do. She has said that a magistrate judge is not allowed to order in her case. She's repeatedly said that magistrate judges don't have authority over her. She has refused to consent to their authority. And now a magistrate judge has ordered in her favor. I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know what she's going to do there. That's it's a moral dilemma. So anyway, there's not it's just a minute order on the there's no docket item for this. There's no actual this just happened today. Amazing. There's no actual written order of the court or anything like that. It's just this. But there's a lot of pending motions in that case. Again, it's important to know that that Melinda has actually lost. Melinda has actually lost this case and is continuing to file motion after motion because anyone in the state of Virginia, right? Some of you, I'm guessing in the chat, are from the state of Virginia. Just statistically speaking, 20,000 people watching, and there are only 50 states. So it stands to reason that at least a percentage of you would be from Virginia. I just want you to know that Melinda has filed several lawsuits, and you guys are paying for all of them because you pay taxes in some way, shape, or form. Those tax dollars fund a particular program called In Forma Pauperis, which is where if you come to the court, but you are too poor to afford the court fees, you apply with the court. You say, I can't afford the filing fees. Not a lawyer. That's different. I can't afford the filing fees. They're too substantial for me. And therefore I need relief from them. And then the state pays for your filing fees. They pay for them. Several $100s to thousands of dollars, depending on how much is filed. Well, Melinda Scott, as far as I'm aware, has filed 6 federal cases against the Kiwi Farms and Joshua Moon, and has filed several state law claims as well. I don't know if the numbers are exact, but we're talking several lawsuits. And you, the good people of Virginia, have paid for all of them. And you're still paying for all of the motions that she keeps filing, even though she has lost. Amazing. Amazingly lost on all of them. This is the first one to even get more than an immediate on the court's own motion, sua sponte dismissal. Sua sponte means on motion of the court. All right. Okay, guys. It's 12:30 my time. I'm going to read super chats. I'm going to wrap up the show, and we are going to go into tomorrow for more jury deliberations. We will have another law panel going. I've gotten indications that there will be several people there. We will be talking about probably this motion. Now you guys know what the motion is. We'll be discussing it. I'm sure we'll be talking more about Jump Kick Man, the Brady violations involved there in conjunction with this motion. We will be talking about that. We'll be talking about other stuff. We're going to have, again, we've had some good expert commentary going on the stream, and I expect that to continue tomorrow. So if you are not going to stay through the super chats, I bid you a warm adieu, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the case. I want to go get some shut eye so that I can actually be awake for it and am ready to go. I will put the link up for tomorrow's show a few minutes after this show is concluded. I'll be able to create the link at that point. To the Odyssey people, the same link is going to be active for basically every stream until this link for whatever reason expires. But as far as I can tell, it stays open, and I can just broadcast to the same live stream link every time. So you guys don't have to go anywhere else. You always have this link. You can actually favorite it if you want, and be there for every stream that I do, day or night. And it's a pretty cool feature that Odyssey has. I think you can do it on YouTube as well, but it makes everything more complicated on YouTube, and I'm not going to bother with it there. So, Eric the Red says, does it get archived? I don't know about that. However, Odyssey is now mirroring the archives of the YouTube streams on Odyssey. So they even have, I believe, the full like Kyle Rittenhouse streams. They're all there on Odyssey for anybody to watch. So you don't need to do anything else. Yeah. Kentucky Life says, yet we can't upvote AKA fire. Yeah, you might only get one upvote on it ever. I don't know. I have to check. But it does get saved one way or another on Odyssey. Also, I have copies of all of the streams held locally as well. So they're all there. If they get deleted by some weird thing, I've got them. With that said, my NAS server is going to be full soon because these streams are massive. Let me get into the chats, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Thank you all for watching. To those who are about to leave, I really do appreciate you guys hanging out for these nighttime shows. They are not always going to be Kyle focused. Sometimes they will be very degenerate and full of very offensive content. And no, I'm not joking. And yes, even more offensive than you're thinking, to the limits of YouTube's terms of service, because this is a free speech channel. And we will discuss things that are uncomfortable with people who may be uncomfortable as well. So you have been warned. But I welcome you here to indulge in that, because it's a fun time. All right, I'm just trying to find the beginning of today's chat, or tonight's chats. Separating them from the chats from earlier today is kind of a pain. Here we go. All right, Fate of Morality says more people died at the Travis Scott concert than the Capitol riot. Yes, significantly more people, actually. Significantly more people died at the Travis Scott concert. 615 Bass says, is the judge's decision to not sequester the jurors, even though there were clearly civil unrest starting outside the court, grounds for an automatic mistrial and appeals based on juror intimidation? No, not automatic. They can make the argument. They'll probably lose the argument. The number 2 from 615 Bass says, is having the mayor's son, don't know if that's the relation, Ben Antaramian as lead detective, and having Huber's dad, who works closely with Binger and is an ADA, a conflict of interest that could result in mistrial? No, that is not a conflict of interest that would result in a mistrial. There may be suspicious political connections and nepotistic connections there that explain why something is done, but those on their own are not evidence of sufficient for a mistrial. You would have to show that there was some prejudicial decision made based on that relationship, which is pretty hard to do. In small towns, you're going to have stuff like that from time to time. All right, next. Mason McCockney. 1, 2, 3 in chat for Littlefinger to be disbarred. There you go. There you go. Alex says, how's the 1 million views feel? Well deserved. Thanks for everything. It feels great, man. A lot of YouTube channels my size, especially my size now, have had multiple million plus view videos happen. They have, and that's where you get a ton of subscribers. You get a million view video, you may pick up 20, 30, 50,000, 100,000 subscribers. If you consider the rate, the possible subscriber click-through rate on the view counts, you can gain a lot of subscribers from that. I have never had a video hit 100,000 or hit a million. The highest I ever had was 750,000. It was a video about Lynn Wood calling John Roberts a giant pedophile. Very funny. And that was the highest that I've ever had. To have it happen, and that video was engineered for the algorithm during the election. It was pure money grab, capitalistic incentive that created that Lynn Wood video, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I loved doing it. But to have my first million view video be a 9.5 hour live stream on something important is a lot cooler than that, in my opinion. Let's see. Elliot Smith says, Fatlock 3, the Bisquickening. God, I want some biscuits. Ooh, I have a burrito waiting for me. Malik Foxon says, dishonest people pissing me off today, Rackets. Glad you're here tonight. Need my palate cleansed. Too much filth. Sorry, buddy. Sorry to hear that. Joskby says, congrats on becoming the Judge Judy of YouTube. Been enjoying the other shows, riffing along with your show. Cool. Thank you. Aaron Redacted says, late. We're not so much angry, just disappointed. Tisk. Healthy Fiesta says, not a drinking problem, but a drinking solution. Yes, alcohol, the cause and solution to all of the world's problems. Richard B. Short says, please read me a bedtime motion. We did. Joe Blow. I wish I could easily show you Joe Blow's chat, but it's in emojis, and it's 4 doors Z equals and a bunch of woman emojis. So apparently 4 doors more whores. Thank you for that. That has ruined my entire day with comedy. Fob Hopper says, damn it, Ricada, get some sleep. You streamed for 9 hours, then another hour or two at Geeks and Gamers. No, it's only 45 minutes at Geeks and Gamers. And now your own stream. Go grifters. I have an announcement coming soon. I'll be on another show pretty soon, and as soon as it's verified, let me double check and make sure it's not verified yet. As soon as it's fully verified, I'll fully announce it. I can't do it. I was hoping to do it here tonight on the show live, but looks like I'll have to wait just a little bit for that. As soon as I can announce it, I will announce it. It'll be fun times. Lieutenant Hughes says, damn you for having me listen to you for a week. Only a week? Only a week? Nathaniel Hyde says, been watching your streams of this trial. Keep up the good work. What would you say are the chances of an acquittal on all charges now that it's gone to a second full day of deliberation? I think it looks like there's 2 to 3 holdout jurors. And those 2 to 3 holdout jurors make it, after a whole day of deliberation, seems like we're going to have a hung jury. We'll see. We'll see. I think that's the likely outcome. I would love to see a full acquittal on all charges, but I don't know that we're going to get there. AC's drafting says dedication. Steve Houston says cheers. Nathaniel Hyde says, by the way, Skull Vikings. The third Seal Patriot, thanks for the donation. Sherry Lally says, if the weapons charge is removed, does the case against Dominic Black continue? 2 felonies. We discussed this. On the show earlier today. I took a look at the law, and the panel agreed with me, I believe. Dominic Black's attorney, he has a public defender, needs to immediately file a motion for dismissal. He needs to immediately file a motion for dismissal because he's got the same judge, and the law about transferring a weapon to a minor is the exact same law with the exact same exception that the judge ruled on in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse in this case to dismiss the charges. So his attorney needs to go ahead and file the motion for dismissal. Dominic Black, if you're watching, and if you're not, you should be, you son of a, you need to tell your attorney or ask them for competent counsel to file a motion for dismissal. I don't care what stupid fake deal your stupid attorney made with Binger that had you testify against your brother or whatever, that like bad decision that you made that I know you regret because I could see it on your face while you were testifying. I could see you trying to throw Kyle every bone possible while still complying with your definitely don't have a deal with the liar attorney Binger. And by the way, maybe you should represent to the court that you definitely had a deal with Binger, because of course you had a deal with Binger. Otherwise, why would you testify against your quote unquote brother, your best friend who lives at your house with you, whom you bought a gun and held in trust for, all of these things, who you chose to go with you into one of the most dangerous nights of your entire life? You literally picked a battle brother out of Kyle Rittenhouse, and then you testified against him to save your own skin. And what you should have done was had your attorney read the law. And if he didn't get it, you should have had him call me, because I made videos about this law and how it was going to go down. And I was right. Corey Shirafisi was right. Kyle's counsel was right. Robert Barnes was right. Andrew Bronco was right. There are people out here who have said that you were not guilty because Kyle was not guilty. And it wasn't biased. It was just a clear read of the law that told us that you were not guilty. So now I beg you, I implore you, whatever stupid deal you had with Binger is still designed to fist you, because Binger is into banging dudes. If you haven't figured that out yet, that is obvious. And it's confirmed now because he lives on a boat with a judge, which is as gay as it possibly gets. But that said, he's trying to screw you like he's trying to screw that guy. Have your attorney file a goddamn motion to dismiss on the same basis with the same judge for the same gun under the same law that Kyle Rittenhouse just won on, and you will win, because it wouldn't make sense for you to lose. There you go. There you go. Dominic Black. Should he be guilty? No, not guilty. Not guilty. Whew. I had to get that off my chest. Rob Minion says, is it possible that the jury may have actually decided but is withholding the verdict until morning, avoiding a night verdict to discourage rioting? Possible, unlikely. Unlikely. Silverfish says, congrats on all the success, Nick. Once Kyle's case is concluded, who do you think should guest appear on the next Drex stream? Hope Kyle is acquitted. The chat should appear on the next Drex stream. It'll be interesting. I genuinely wonder how a lot of new people will respond to someone of Drexel's eloquence. Don't get me wrong. I love the guy, but some of his views are a little bit interesting to some people. Who is calling me in the middle of the fucking show? Stop calling me in the middle of the show, Britain. Should I answer it? Hello? Yeah, I'm in the middle of a show. Well, I'm gonna be streaming the trial tomorrow, or waiting for the jury. Um, but let's see, after about 6 p.m. Central Time, might be a good time tomorrow. Yeah, well, let's talk about. Give me a call tomorrow, and well, tomorrow my time, and yeah, we'll do it. We'll talk about it. No, it sounds good, man. Talk to you then. All right, bye. Oh, poor guy didn't realize I was on in the middle of a stream. But it's all good. It's all good. Oh, LGN Shorty says, "Let justice be done, though the heavens fall." Chris D says, "What is your opinion on professional jurors versus the system we have?" Oh, I don't know if I like professional jurors. I like the system that we have. As weird as uh who was it? It's someone who's got a story to tell. I don't know the story. I don't know the person. Someone across the pond, and if the story's interesting, maybe we'll get to hear it. But I got to find out later. I don't like the idea of professional jurors. No, and it's the same reason you don't actually want lawyers on the jury. Like you really don't, because sometimes a lawyer's going to go, yeah, that is the law, even if it's not right. Osmaster, no, it's not Sargon. Sargon would just DM me. Sargon would just DM me. I need to talk to him again soon. I love talking to Sargon. He's a very interesting guy. Not so Slim Jim says, if you need a firearms expert for your panel, I can help for a short time. I don't know if we need one for tomorrow, but I am looking to do some Second Amendment content coming up, because this Kyle case is going to end this week, most likely in the next day or two. And so there's plenty of stuff to talk about, and the Second Amendment is a big one on my list. And I've made some very interesting connections over the past couple days of people I would love to have the opportunity to interview. So we're gonna work on some of that as the Kyle case wraps down. Oh, I just found out the Kim Potter case, the taser lady. She is that trial will apparently be televised. I didn't think it was going to be, but it will. I know people want to see Ghislaine Maxwell federal court. Not sure it's going to be televised, so we'll have to check. Okay. ED2276 First Amend Law says, what do you think about acquittal or hung jury now? Jury should have determined its self-defense applies by now. If they determined it applies, they would have already acquitted. Seems they are looking at the charges instead. I think hung jury. I think there's just holdouts. We got some indication that it was holdouts. And so that I think that's a reasonable conclusion. Daniel Ambrose says, you are Judge Judy, but with bourbon. Oh, let's not lie about this. Judge Judy's got bourbon in her water bottle. Brett Cohen says, take my money and rabbit. Mark Shrout says, you have provided great coverage and content throughout the trial. Your panelists have been interesting and engaging. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Mr. Obi-Wan. I read that one. Zachary Fett says, this is just your coffee fund for your coffee fund. I don't drink coffee, but thank you. I'll use it on tea. Kazuki Ferret says, hey, Nick, grats on how well your streams have blown up, friend. Been using these to try and keep up through my busy work days. Dope Jacko says, what the hell happened? I just joined. Oh God, I can't go back through it. I can't go back through it. Pierce Smith says, I'm just starting the stream now. Here's 40 for that liquor joke. Thanks so much for the trial coverage. Was so bogus that they did what they did to your stream today. Pissed to give 30% to YouTube. I need to move. Thanks again, Pierce Smith. Good news. Odyssey is waiting for you. You can go over to Odyssey and watch. You'll get the same content and a very similar experience, but with less chat and also less of a YouTube cut. GG says, will you offer live coverage on Chris Chan? You'll blow up even more. I would love to. I don't know if Chris Chan is going to have televised court access. I'd love to cover Chris Chan. Guys, think about this, though. Thomas over at Odyssey tells me to get some rest and go to bed. They want to beef up the infrastructure for live streaming over at Odyssey, but that requires some downtime. And I'm interfering. Just kidding. They've been the guys at Odyssey are literal champs. They're doing great. We flooded them with a massive influx of people today live. We had 60,000 people and asked them to join over. I don't know how many people tried, but I know a lot of people were not able to get in, and it was a great stress test. I hope nothing but Odyssey keeps growing, and I know they're working really hard to provide a quality competitor to YouTube in a real way. And we need it. We need it. We need systems that would allow people like me, people like half of the panelists today, people like my good friend Doug TeNapel, to be able to speak openly without being shut down, but to also reach similar amounts of people that YouTube provides. So we need that to happen. And Odyssey are the guys building it. They're building it right now. And I have nothing but respect for people who go out and actually build something. So that is an alternative out there. And I am working my best to support it as best I can right now. Bree says, uncivil law found a mistake in the written jury instructions. They didn't include the dismissal of the gun charge, although the judge told the jury. Very interesting. Dash says, last time I was here, Kevin Landau was driving drunk to his $10 million suit. Has he finally met his match in Binger? Ooh, Binger is evil. Landau is so dumb, though. Rael says, ask as Kermit, answer as Midwest lawyer. Okay. Well, what the hell does Binger think people did during injuries, fires, etc. before emergency services existed? Wait. Your green frogness. What Binger thinks doesn't matter because everything Binger thinks involves a penis. AC's drafting says, objection, Your Honor. Chad called well says Binger gets pegged for sure. Joe Dean says Claire and present Binger. Joe Blow says the salt must flow. Dingus Khan. So for the new people, by the way, Kevin Landau is an attorney based in Michigan and New York. He's licensed in both of those states. The first trial I ever covered, which is a beautiful trial, wonderful trial, really perfect trial. You couldn't find a better case on defamation. You couldn't find a better case on false light in New York. But anyway, it's a great case, and he is the source of the first ethics complaint I ever received, and it was entirely due to my YouTube coverage. All of my ethics complaints have come only from covering stuff on YouTube, which made people mad, and I relish all of them. So that's the lore for any new people around Kevin Landau. He is one of the worst attorneys on the planet, and what he does to clients is absolutely gross. Very briefly, he takes cases on contingency, right? I'll take 30% if I win. He works on the cases for a very long time, say 6 months to a year, racking up a ton of billable work hours, and then he gets the clients into a place where they are in trouble with the court, sanctionable trouble. He withdraws his counsel, then bills the clients for his time worked because he didn't get a contingency. So he sues on an equitable theory, basically called quantum merit, value for the amount of work that I've done. And then the clients eat the sanctions for his mistakes, and he sues them for, several tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. He is a piece of garbage, and nothing terrible could happen to him that I wouldn't be happy about. Dingus Khan says, thanks for all the coverage. I've been glued. Did you see Binger used to go by Fluffer Boy online? Fluffer Boy 2004. Never let it be forgotten. Joe Blow says the salt must flow. Karana Guy 27 says, my son is crying in his crib, but he's going to have to wait because Ricada is streaming Flex. Well, I could do the rest of the stream like this and soothe your son's crying with the dulcet tones of late night Ricada Law. But I won't. Dope Jacko says, wait, what the hell happened? I just joined. Josh Peckle, thanks for donation. CBDX.com says, sorry, we meant to say baked. Our products will get you baked, not bailed. You will not go bailed from our cannabis products. Use Ricada at checkout. So if you're interested in CBDX.com, they sell Delta 8 products. You can check them out at CBDX.com. Saturn Tube says, been considering starting a stream of my own. My only gimmick is my naturally bizarre voice. Is that aspiration dead in the water? No. Just figure out a way to use your naturally bizarre voice in an interesting way. Can't just be about your voice. Read children's stories. Read erotic stories. I don't know. Read the news. Read music. Read famous speeches. Do something that involves your voice that you think people would like. Get an ASMR mic and do it, and really emphasize whatever weirdness your voice has through that high gain, crisp sound microphone. Do something like that. All right. Ed Powell says the motion for mistrial is really poorly written. Is this normal for a high profile, high risk trials? Yes. Yeah. You, especially in state court, don't look for good writing. I'm not saying they shouldn't have good writing. They should, but especially on something like this, they threw together that motion really, really quickly. Really, really quickly. LT Hobbit says, you right. You forced me to watch the entirety of the Rittenhouse. You're great and have an amazing all-star cast. Damn you, you bigot. Congrats on 1 million view video. It has a high like to dislike ratio with 98.8% liked. Congrats on almost 300K subs. Love to see the success. Thank you. Yeah, I think, but the poor writing in state court is pretty common. I didn't know this until I started covering cases, and you find out just how bad everybody is at writing everything. But I didn't. I've seen way worse than this motion for a mistrial. I've seen way worse. That we'll leave it at that. Josh Peckle says, disbar Fluffy Binger. The gray one says, evening, Nick. It's been a while since I super chatted. I've been watching this trial with suspense since day one. Legal question. Under Wisconsin law, provocation covers overt crime. State is hurting its own case. But we're not in proper law anymore. We are in jury. Juries do what they are going to do. Juries do what they're going to do. And so it's really hard to say anything about like we're past the legal questions, because juries are not lawyers. So they will decide what how they want to handle that. Viden the Cold One says, hey Nick, my birthday is the 22nd. I'll be 44. Woo. Hope you are well. My 34th birthday is the 22nd. Yay, one step closer to death. Wait, is it 34 or 44? I'm going to be 40 in less than a month. Oh my God. I just realized what date tomorrow is. Joe Blow says, Binger can't keep his finger off the trigger or out of the judge's gritty bungholes. Gross. Fearless Soldier says, I read Binger is married with 3 kids. True? I have no idea. But he was living temporarily with another man. Just 2 bros hanging out on a boat. Mark Gee says, Binger was just jealous that he was stuck with Fluffer Boy 2004 and didn't have a kick-ass handle like 4 Doors More Whores. Adam Keeney says Fatlock. Regent Raptor says history will remember them as good friends. Neil K says no matter what happens tomorrow, the Kenosha PD needs to do their damn job if riots occur. Last August was an absolute embarrassment. Not only that, the National Guard is there. So hopefully that'll help. Ed2276 First Amendment Law says Bunger Binger. Elijah Watson says you look like you've aged about 30 years from the OG Maddox lawsuit videos. I feel like I've aged even more, but also I got a camera that shows all of my wrinkles. AC's Drafting says Smelly Binger. Apar Sharma, thank you for the donations. Callis Morn Rex says absolutely shocked to find out that Binger is a Democrat. Shocked. Starasp says Claire Binger's just a straight guy having a straight time. He's got straight pride. I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men. That means you're gay. Salpsan says faux hawks are for butt pirates named Claire. David A. Hamilton says the judge is left-handed. Look at the watch. If the judge shoots guns at all, he would absolutely know about rifles ejecting directly into your face. Flex APR says, what time zone are you in, Nick? Or is it Nate? It's Nick. Thanks for these Rittenhouse trial updates. I'm in Central Time. Anna Review says, favorite drink on that boat is the Binger Stinger. Stop it. Red guy says, Binger does look like a Claire. The other guy looked like an Eclair. Oh, that's filthy. That is filthy. Influences by Ariadna Jacob says, Nick, will you somehow do a 5-minute recap of everything important so when people who haven't watched ask, they can be educated with one link? That's a good idea. Maybe. I mean, I'm definitely going to recap the trial when everything is done. I'll do a video on it, but maybe I can put one out tomorrow. We'll see. Turbo Bastard says the coverage has been great. Quite a learning experience. Also on Saturday, I chipped a molar on my first bite of a Taco Bell Crunch Wrap. Any advice? Yes, go to the dentist immediately. Sinblade says, I'm a fan of bromance. Men being friends. Like, if you want to sue Taco Bell, you got to talk to a lawyer in your jurisdiction. And they may, one threatening letter, and they may just settle out for the cost of your dental work, which would probably be minimal. A couple $100 or whatever. Sinblade says, I'm a fan of bromance, men being friends, and not braining one another is the backbone of society. That said, nary a man friend can save the Binger from his comeuppance in this world or the next. I think Binger is interested in some comeuppance. Cowboy Shit says, just coming in, did not expect Rick Nikita to be streaming tonight. Get some sleep, dude. Did you see Tim Pool tonight? I did not. Tim Pool brought in an all-star cast and had over 100,000 live viewers. Much congrats to that. I hope he played guitar for his chickens for them, but I don't think so. They were in an RV, so I don't think his chickens were with him. But that was a wild stream. Had Alex Jones and others on. It was crazy. I did not watch it. You just know Alex Jones in an RV is crazy. It's like the entire plot of Breaking Bad, but funnier. JDA says, what kind of whiskey tonight? This is what I've been drinking. It's Calumet Farm 15-year bourbon. It's really good. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I've had Calumet Farms bourbon. This one is, a 15-year, which is not normal. It's phenomenal. Jason Will says, Swinger Binger Fluffy Finger name to surely linger. Gross. Jason Will, no, SMS 1776-2000 says, have you seen the Urban Dictionary definition for Binger? I have not. In Lingrel says, wish I would have known his name was Claire, would have been able to call the prosecutors T Claire and E Claire the whole time. Bolin Yulin says, Judge Chad and T Stacy Binger, the story of the two butt pirates that started a resistance against the evil empire in theaters this summer. Judge Chad and T Stacy Binger, the story of two butt pirates that started a resistance against the evil empire in theaters this summer. Captain Palsy says, I trust Nick's nose over Binger any day. C65 CJ5 says Binger dreams of one day being as lying ruthless as Adam Schiff. Jeff Gregory says, can Binger be charged with a crime for withholding evidence or get the gentleman's out with just getting disbarred? I don't think he'll get either. They'll just lose the case and they'll be done. If they lose the case, if the judge even rules on it. Heavy 34 says, I just want to grill for God's sakes. Me too, but winter is here. It's not even coming anymore, right? It's not even Game of Thrones. It's just shit. Joe Blow says, Binger loves havoc to his colon. Partran Madridin says, what percentage of prosecutors do you think are this kind of Binger level corrupt? Binger level corrupt, I don't think that many. Less than 10%. A lower level corrupt, I think it's very high. I think there's significant amount of prosecutors that are a real problem. So don't get me wrong on that. But I don't know if it's corruption so much as the system. Malik Foxon says, Odyssey looks neat. I like its interface. So since you get a bigger cut, it's bye-bye, Susan. What do you call an Odyssey super chat anyway? Wait, there's a review button. I can proofread my super chats now. That's an automatic win. They're called hyper chats on Odyssey. They're called hyper chats there. Boy George Straight says, this is when we need 5 lawyers on the stream, all giving their reasons why this should be a mistrial. WP. I don't know what W/P is. Tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have a robust discussion about the motion for mistrial. Joe Blow says, when Binger farts, it sounds like a sigh. Miniaturized Strange Quark says, breaking, Posobiec tweeted Kenosha County prosecutors withheld video evidence from Kyle Rittenhouse defense team. We talked about that. Jack Stainback says, hashtag shit and shinola. Lord Thornton Eddington says, the judge has been watching the coverage of him and behaving as such. It's pathetic. General says, Nathan DeBruin's website is photosbynated.com. You can buy his photos. That's Photo Chat, guys. Photosbynated.com. Jason Semedru says, as much as I believe pedophiles should be sent to the wall, a bigger tragedy than letting one of them go free because of state cutting corners is an innocent person going to prison because of that. Yeah. Yes, you're right. An innocent person going to prison because the state cut corners is the ultimate. I mean, that's the thing, right? The maxim is better that 99 guilty men go free than one innocent man go to jail. And we've lost sight of that a long time ago. 615 Base says, I know it's easy to get lost in the mix, but I think you missed my other 2 super chats earlier in the stream. Just had a couple of questions. I've gotten to them since. Sorry for that. VBN, BN, and you guys have no idea. I don't know if it's my browser. I don't know if my RAM is broken, which is possible. I was having issues with it the other day, or what, just the amount of people in the streams. But lately I'm actually having browser crashes on my chat windows, which screws up the entire super chat flow. It's a pain. VBNBNBXMNXFM says, having a dram of 1792 12-year, great bourbon. Finding lots of cherry and dried fruits on the nose, some oak and spice in the palate. Wait, am I on the right channel? You are. 1792 bourbon is fantastic. I like it a lot. John Maffei says, read the motion with Richard's voice. Oh, that would have been horrifying. I've found that carrying on impressions for a long time, sustained, is really, really trying and difficult, and you tend to lose them. It's best to do just, Your Honor, it's best if you just keep it kind of short and simple, kind of like Binger's penis. Malik Fox says, by the way, reminder to all the YouTube folks, Odyssey's not getting rid of their dislike button. Candice Marie says, been watching your stream with you and crew since Jump. I think our justice system is really in danger of not being trustworthy. Thank you to everyone on stream with commentary. We, the people, need the truth more than ever. Thank you, Candice Marie. I agree. Coming Curse 999 says, I just got thrown in shitter jail for tweeting that Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero. Just thought I'd send a few bucks to you for going against the grain. Yes, you can't talk about Kyle on Twitter very much because they will suspend you. Garp says you can't rub the one-eyed snake to 420 by 212. I grew up on dial-up. I don't know if I agree. Noodle Guy says Binger has to be intentionally throwing this case because he knows he never had a case, wants to push the BS narrative of white privilege. Silent Glove says you are using an Electro Voice RE20, one of the best mics on the planet, for rejecting aberrant noise. We do not hear your kids. You don't, but I do. I do, and it's very, very distracting. But yes, I am using the Electro Voice RE20. I love it. I think it's a fantastic mic, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly since I got it. Infernal Iris says, here's some Griff money for the Griff God. Thanks for the great coverage, Nick. Prayers to a fair outcome for Kyle tomorrow. Cascadian Abstraction says, Signs versus Kessler, free speech case. High drama ongoing now. Have you / will you cover it? Maybe. Never heard of it. Can you email me about it? Consequences, thanks for finally bringing your live streams to Odyssey, you boomer. Look, I'm a slow change person. I don't like adding things to my workflow. I get very comfortable in what I'm doing, and I don't like messing with that because when I mess with something, I screw it up, and then you guys make fun of me, and I don't like being made fun of. Okay? So I try not to change my process. Bob Piffle says, am I wrong in thinking that the outcome of this trial is incredibly important? Blatant misconduct, jurors in fear for their safety, media bullshit spin. Is this the path forward for our society? I'm afraid it's not a nightmare, but a surreal reality. No, everything you just said is true. Everything you just said is true, and it is of grave concern. This is one of the, again, it's one of the most important comments I've ever, trials that has happened in my lifetime. Really is. And again, it's interesting because it has no legal effect, right? Kyle Rittenhouse's case will not be cited as some reason for self-defense in court, but it will be in the public eye. Malik Foxton says, just to get you to $100 because the 99 is killing me. Thank you for the dollar. And then Lon 353N7RY. I don't know what that means. I can't. Ion. I don't know. I got suspended for sharing this stream on the 15th. Great. That sucks. Joe Blow says, Binger thought it was open for probing, just like his stretched out brown eye. Malcolm Wilhelm says, won't the state argue that the difference in video quality isn't exculpatory and therefore not a Brady violation? Yes, they will. They will argue it. But again, when you have a video expert who has the opportunity to confront the evidence or the other witness, and you don't have the same level of evidence that witness is going to testify to, then I think it's prejudicial. I think you got it. I mean, will the judge rule that way? I don't know. But they've made the argument, and they made the argument adequately. Sinblade says, imagine how upset you would be if you got 1999 porn resolution in 2021. Now add your life depending on it. Exactly. Thank you. Austin McConnell says, Nick, I just moved from California to Alabama and haven't made any friends yet. The streams help a lot. Thanks for all the laughs. Also, please do CWC. I really want to do Chris Chan. I really want to do that trial. It all depends on if it will be televised. If it's broadcast, I'm going to do it. When's it start? It starts really soon, right? Kramer says, Ricada, Kiwi Farms even docs Jump Kick Man today. There's not a snowball's chance in hell they couldn't figure it out if Kiwi Farms could. Denialist says, we know Jump Kick Man. We, the government, can't say I'm surprised, but goddamn. Simdo says, who, if anyone, has the ability to revoke Binger's ability to practice law after reviewing this case? Can other lawyers not make a recommendation? They can, but the lawyer's response, the Office of Lawyers' Responsibility, the OLR, I believe is what they're called in Wisconsin, is the ones who would make that decision. Jeffrey Grajic says, holy hell, I admire your commitment. Thanks. Look, YouTube is the most fun job I've ever had, and I am YouTube content creation, whatever you want to call it. It is one that I enjoy doing. So I try to do it as much as possible. Ed Morales says, because the state is still using AOL to send official court documents. That's a good reason they might have a low res version. That might be it. Scott Bain says, why wasn't the jury sequestered? Seems to me that if this case didn't demand it, none do. The presumption is against sequestration these days. They changed that. Used to be much more common. But now the presumption is against it. So this case might have demanded it, but they err on the side against sequestration because it infringes on the rights of the jurors so heavily. And especially in this case, I mean, could you imagine? They would have been sequestered for 2 weeks, which back in the 80s would have been kind of common. But now no one gets sequestered that long. I think they should have sequestered them for the jury deliberations, personally. Super Iron Bob says some email and messaging problems re-encode video for file size when sending / use a cloud storage that transcode for the recipient's device. Could be. That would be interesting if they argued, no, we uploaded the right size, but they downloaded the wrong size because Dropbox changed it. Plank says, wouldn't a mistrial also allow the media and all those that drag Kyle's name through the mud a leg to stand on to defend against their lawsuits? The media doesn't need legs to stand on to defend against their lawsuits. Kyle was charged. The media reported on the charges. The media reported on what their opinions were around the charges with the charges in context. That Kyle is acquitted a year later would not actually make what the media said untrue at the time they said it. Big Spaces says they need a quarter resolution so Rosenbaum could see it. Oh, come on. Come on. What a pedophile. Sarn Zero says, Nick, you damn kids drive me to drink more than my stream, and that's saying something. Generalissimo says, Binger hasn't been removed only because Schrader is an ethics Chad, not red-pilled but idealistic despite his age. Seems to care about his obligation, impartiality, and ethics. Hope he doesn't let the state Binger bang Kyle. Eugenius Bear says, didn't they technically alter evidence? Yep. Mark M says, I appreciate all your hard work. Thank you. And again, the judge could hold off on ruling on the motion to dismiss until after the jury renders a verdict. And he could use it as he thought the jury would come back with a not guilty verdict. They don't. He rules on the motion to dismiss, dismisses it with prejudice. Let the state appeal it. Good luck. Good luck. Zachariah Kitzman says, as a law enforcement officer, I thought I was blackpilled by the riots. Orders by the mayor be damned. I'm doing my job, but this trial is a goddamn travesty. DA should be disbarred and charged. Zachariah Kitzman, man, tip my hat to you. I could not be an LEO in 2021. I couldn't do it. I probably couldn't do it at any time, but that was more because I'm lazy and generally out of shape most of my life. Well, aside from in college, I was in good shape, but post college, I was generally not in great shape. Just because I'm lazy. Again, let's reiterate that. Marathon year, I was in good shape that year, but no, this year I couldn't do it on principle at all. I just don't know how law enforcement officers go out and do that. The Krigler Show. What are you doing here? Why are you even alive at this hour? It's so late, buddy. It's so late. XNameX530 says they even stated that this footage was their best evidence, so they are arguing about the picture of the judge. They did. Eugenius Bear says, what I want to know is why they didn't let Gary Oldman have the role of lead prosecutor in this show. Cavi says, Andrew Bronca said earlier today that a mistrial with Prejudice was a fantasy, but was he aware of this filing and its contents? Thanks and love you guys. Longtime lurker / sub, first time super chat. Gabby, thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciated. I don't know that he had read this document or not. I didn't ask him, but Bronca is, his basis for that, which is apt and wise, is that the judge, how do I word this? The judge seems inclined against anything other than a jury. So I think that's the basis for his statement. The judge is not going to do anything other than let it go to jury. And since that, it's fantasy to think he'll do anything else. We'll see. We'll see. Angry Bainling, no, I did not see the thing you DM'd me. Hold on. When did you DM me? A million years ago? That was yesterday. Yeah, Odyssey. We broke Odyssey earlier today. Okay. We got to finish up. I can feel my voice getting really tired. ACR says, could the prosecution face arrest for this? No, probably not. John Horn says, the copy of the motion that I saw is stamped as filed on the 15th, not the 16th. That would be before the case was even given to the jury, correct? Yes, they filed it, but the judge hasn't ruled on it. State hasn't responded to it. There's a lot to go. Mark Gee says, so if the prosecution did overreach and the trial is mistrialed with prejudice, can the defense or a court go after the prosecution for corruption? They can try. I don't think they'd be successful. Seamus Smurf, I mean, they might. I shouldn't say that. I'm just pessimistic on punishments for prosecutors in general. Seamus Smurf says there was a lawyer named Binger whom we all thought was a dead ringer. He said with a grin and knife under your chin, I told you not to trust, little finger. Not Applicable says, welcome to the nighttime show. By the way, new audience. Yes, welcome to many of you who are joining in nighttime for maybe the first time. Trey Loper says, I believe Binger also lied to the judge regarding the delay in the Zeminski trial. He told the judge the delay was due to a witness not being available. That should be verifiable, correct? I mean, all you have to say is that there's not a witness available. The court's going to be deferential on continuances, generally speaking. But it was probably a lie. It's probably a lie. Whether it's verifiable or not, what? You're going to call and, oh, were you unavailable? And the prosecution just call me, hey, by the way, say you're unavailable because we're trying to help out. We're trying to put that Kyle Rittenhouse bastard in the ground. Big Spaces says the public defender has more cases than the defense video has pixels. Dino says check Ricada Media DMs on Twitter sent memes. Also, a Brady violation does not need to be shown to be harmless error on appeal. It is presumed in Kyle's appeal. Okay. Lon Baker says, Nick, you are a blazing a trail to the future of media. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. And I said it when I got to appear on Glenn Beck, and I hope to have more media appearances in the future, not because I want to be on the media in general, but because I want to go on the media to tell people that the future is not on these legacy products. The future is individuals. It's something I've been preaching about for the past couple of years here. Individual creation of content, whether it be comic books, movies, video games, news. The independent creators are becoming the truth tellers, and the valued and vaunted creators of our generation. They just are. I would 99% chance if I'm buying a video game, it's probably somewhat of an indie game or a mid studio rather than a AAA title these days, because the AAA titles are going to tell me that they hate me in some way. They're going to have to work in the fact that they hate that I bought their game because I'm a Who-white male and I also believe in God. And that's the kicker, right? Those three things together will the developers got to tell me how wrong I am on those three things. And the funny thing is, I don't care about the developer. I don't care about the movie maker's opinions, but they sure as shit care about mine. And so AAA stuff, be it movies, TV, video games, now all that AAA stuff is them telling me how much they don't like me. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Independent creation is the way to go. And the tools are in the hands of morons like me. And you give me the tools and you give me the chance to talk to people, and I will tell them exactly what I think. Because I have been holding people hostage with words for years and years and years. You put me on an airplane or a train next to someone, I will bore the shit out of them forever. You let me do it to tens of thousands of people? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He said over on Odyssey, he says, it's Lone Sentry. Now I see it. Now that you say it with all your fucking numbers in your name. I'm out. I appreciate the coverage and hop over to Odyssey. Get some sleep, man. Your voice is cracking. Not even that smooth whiskey is helping. No, it's probably hurting, to be honest. Good logic. How are you still awake? What is wrong with you? Don't you have a pillar to throw at someone? What are you even doing? Oh my gosh. Okay, we got to get back to this. Prim says, don't forget to write CBDX back. I want to see my favorite Delta 8 company as a sponsor, my favorite legal channel. They do Revenge of the Sis too. CGEM, thanks for the donation. Interior Attack 8 says, plea deals from a corrupt state on the borrowed time of an overwhelmed public defender. Yep. Joshua Unset says, Posobiec has both videos on his Twitter if you want to demonstrate the difference in quality. Nah, go check it out, guys. I want to finish the stream, but go check it out. Posobiec's Twitter has it. Posobiec or Posobiec? I don't know how to say anything. Stephen Demonin says, is Binger subject to contempt charges on the Brady violations? For how long can they jail him? I mean, contempt is within the discretion of the court generally, and they can jail them for quite a while, but he's not going to go to jail for it. Nowhere Overland says, we need to stop with the piecemeal, tell the defense this, tell the defense that, and just say, tell the defense to join the stream and take notes. Gummy says, Your Honor, I have evidence that Mr. Binger is wreaking a considerable amount of havoc at Jump Kick Man's back door, and it's prejudicial. I don't know the word. Prejudicial to me, my client, but mostly me. Oh shit! I just went to Book of Mormon, right? But mostly me. Aaron says 2 jurors holding out due to fear only makes sense if the majority of the jury is going to acquit Kyle. Kyle's supporters are likely to blame a guilty verdict on the media and BLM instead of the jury. Yes, no, you're correct. You're correct, and I think it's very obvious that the majority of the jury is going to be in favor of acquittal based on the evidence. Leading Coder 924 says, I'm confused about the minor firearm law. I've been following your discussion on it, but it seems to me that it only excludes 17-year-olds from possessing short-barreled rifles. Where does it say that a minor can possess a handgun? It does not. They created the law so minors could not possess handguns. So the exception to the law for 16 and 17-year-olds is in regards to long-barreled rifles and long-barreled shotguns. It means that all other dangerous weapons are prohibited from anyone under 18, which would include 16 and 17-year-olds. So that's going to apply to knuckle dusters, handguns, which would be firearms that are not shotguns or rifles. You're going to have cestus, brass knuckles, nunchucks, rope, weighted chains, right? Like Jackie Chan when he tied the horseshoe around the rope and flung it around in Shanghai Noon, if you remember that. So no, that's it does not say a minor can possess a handgun. It's actually engineered to punish minors who are out possessing handguns because Wisconsin's a hunting state. And there are there's farmland and 16-year-olds may have a gun on their farmland. 2D Harem King Jack says, soft Josh, bitch made simple mangina Josh. Ooh, damn. Yes. Oh, yeah, that was from Drexel. That was so funny. Paul Cover says, if the defendant gets a guilty, do you think self-defense is ruined in this country forever? No, but it's severely damaged. It's crippled, like Joe Biden. Fuller Chandler says, do you think the media has affected the judge's rulings? Yes. When he almost declared it a mistrial, if he let the magnitude affect his decision, he also failed his job. I agree. M. Daly says, is the white thing behind you for your lawyer witchcraft? No, those are miniature paints. That's my painting station that has been unused since I built it. Carson Depp says, did you see how Vancouver is cut off from the rest of Canada by mudslides and storm-related road closures? How soon will Canadian cannibalism start? Not soon enough. Not soon enough is the answer. Yeah, good logic. I would really suggest waiting for that first strike to expire before you make a Huber Deserve to Die video. I think it'll be a fantastic video. But I think you should let that strike expire because that is maybe glorifying violence, and you might get a strike on that. C. Gem says 2 jurors are held up out of fear of media backlash. Darth Vegeta says maybe the prosecution compressed the video so they could send it over email. 10 megabytes is often the limit in MS Outlook. They testified that they didn't testify. They stated to the court or represented to the court that they used Dropbox. But it is possible that they compressed it for something like that, but that's not acceptable. Winston is my spirit animal, says just got here. What was the motion to dismiss for? Prosecutorial misconduct, or quote unquote overreach, as they call it. We'll probably discuss it on the stream tomorrow at some point. Reality Hijack says my Scandinavian family from Moose Lake calls their Polish friends and neighbors Polacks in a slightly pejorative sense. Are you a Polak, my dude? Yes. Yes, I am happy to be one, because Poland right now is one of the most comically red-pilled countries on earth. Despite the fact that they have lingering communistic policies from their time under the Iron Curtain, they're still hilariously quote unquote based, and I like them. I would love to visit the Ricada ancestral motherland. Tech priest Alex says show went from the importance of the First Amendment to Kyle's judge love of Jeopardy, and then finally Legal Bites Toes. Yep, gotta love this show. And, you never know what you're going to get. Legal Bites trying to sell toenails. Talents here says, please consider this a petition to change the nickname from Sour Kraus to Santa Kraus. Man, I want to see the Santa Claus memes, because Barnes and Viva both, I think, accidentally said Klaus. And it was great. It was like, oh, if they were Klaus, that'd be phenomenal. Okay, I'm just trying to find the last... hold on. The last super chats. This thing got all messed up. Where is it? Whew. There it is. Solid number 5 says, seeing how successful your streams have been these past few weeks, are you thinking about changing up how you stream? Also, congrats on the 20K views on your regular night streams. I am thinking about changing up how I stream, but only in the ways that I was already thinking about it. I wanted to add a daytime show. Not a 9-hour daytime show typically, but I wanted to add a daytime show for a myriad of reasons. And now, I think we've got a lot of daytime people who would be interested in tuning into it. So we'll see how that goes. Mark M says, where do you accept crypto? I'm working on that. Mark M. I need to, someone has a crypto wallet that they are ready to give me, but I don't understand it very well because I'm lazy. And so I'm working on that, because several people have expressed a desire to do crypto donations. So Doug Murray says, will Grossneck be charged with attempted premeditated homicide for admitting on the stand under oath if Kyle is acquitted? No, not a chance. Are they going to? No, see, because here's the thing. If Binger loses this case, he's going to maintain that his prosecution was good. He can't maintain that his prosecution was good if he's spent his entire time praising Gage Grosskreutz as a medic and a hero, and then go charge him with a crime. It's not going to look good. Not going to look good at all. Fallen Angel asks, will I get Jim and or Josh for the Chris Chan trial? If they're interested in coming on, and again, the most important thing is, is the trial televised? If it is, sure. Rob Price says, could Binger in theory get charged with aggravated menacing with a firearm for his stunt with the AR in court? With all the violations by the prosecution, what do you think the chances of them getting sanctioned are? In theory, yes. In reality, no. He's probably got a prosecutorial privilege, or some level of qualified immunity on the firearm stunt. I don't think he's going to be able to be charged for that. Also, they would make the argument that there was no danger because there was no bullets, even though that didn't work for Alec Baldwin. But the other thing is, it would be his office prosecuting him, and I don't think that's going to happen. Um, I don't. I'm pessimistic on them getting sanctioned. I think they have clearly violated the rules and should be sanctioned, both Binger and Krause. But I don't think there's any chance that they will, honestly. William Foley says, hell of a ride. Congrats on your cricket success. Hey, thank you. And VNOP says, I can say I knew you when, heart. Joe Blow says, Binger has a burrito waiting for him as well. Oh, stop it. The Bad Burrito says, fun fact about the video. Prosecution's video was 16 times higher resolution than the 212p one they have the defense. They gave the defense. Oopsie. The large Fathertron says there was more havoc in Binger's emails than on the courthouse steps. Been a big fan since the DSP bankruptcy. Congrats and enjoy grifting. Thank you. DSP would have already been acquitted. All right. Okay. Jury, I'm representing myself. Representing myself because the chat has let me down. The chat tells me to play Spider-Man, but they don't donate. They tell me to play Grand Theft Auto, but they don't donate. And since the chat has not donated enough to me, I've got to represent myself. I can't get a lawyer if the chat's not gonna step up. And so here I am, jury, and I need an acquittal right now. I got to put this vest on. I got to get back on the show because you got to do the show. And if you don't do the show, you're going to lose. You're going to lose the audience. And I've got WWE to play. All right. Thanks, buddy. Wolfman says, Rackets, congrats on getting 1 million views on today's stream. I love the content and all the degenerates in chat. Thank you. 80K says, how would you feel being a juror, spending weeks of your time in court and then deliberating only to have the judge dismiss the case? I'd be pissed, but I don't care what the jury thinks. I don't care what the jury thinks at all, actually. Dapper Wolf says, Nick, do you think if Kyle gets off, would you be able to interview him on your channel? Also, go to Sleep Boomer. I would be able to. Whether or not he would accept is the question. I would love to. Would love to talk to him about the process. Gamer Valine says, are you playing the GTA remaster? Nope. It's not as bad as everyone says. On PC, just turn off VSync to fix the rain issue. No, I'm not. The last thing I've been playing is the Diablo 2 remaster, which I hate Blizzard, but I'm really enjoying it. And I want more companies to do what Blizzard did. I want them to take an old game and just make it pretty. I don't need new stuff. Your old game was great. I like the gameplay. I just want it to play on a new system, and I want it to be pretty. That's all I want. And I think it was a brilliant play to do it, and I wish more companies would do that. Personally, come back to Path of Exile. CBDX.com says, we love you. We want to get all your viewers high in a legal way. We're just going to keep super chatting you until we hear back because we love you, Ricada, at checkout for 20% off. Ricada at checkout for 20% off. Joanne Smith says, can somebody organize a Give, Send, Go fundraiser for Kyle? He'll need it for security plus a new start. Toxic Candy says, plasma or bolter? I love bolters. Plasma is unreliable. Bolters are so satisfying. Boom, 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 boom. Plus people. Mark M sent a pair sticker. Thank you. JP says, Binger the banger can't even Binger his banger. Talonseer says, lol, so instead of she bangs for the song, more like he bings. David Sepulveda says, you're the man. You just put a smile on my face. That a boy. Get him, sir. Lol, a Binger in life is exactly as it sounds. No juxtaposition. Asia Fraser says, my baby is learning to stay. So proud. She can stay for 10 seconds. It's her first day learning to stay. She can sit, paw, lay down, and roll over. Awesome, Asia Fraser. Patrick Stewart says, is that Binger calling you to ask for a hookup? Yes. ED2276 First Amendment Law says, Jeopardy question. I have a burrito waiting for me. Answer, what is what Claire Binger says to himself as he's driving home from work to the judge? Michael Bell says, you and everyone are awesome. Thank you for being you, keeping it entertaining. I'm still confused how deliberation works. We got time tomorrow. Yeah, come tomorrow. Maybe I'll remember to talk about that specifically. Samantha Flynn Say Raggeds, I'm so sorry if you've already read this. So many chats lately. I emailed you, but I know you're busy with Kyle. Keep it up, dude. Samantha, I will find your email. Thank you. I was wondering how you and your wonderful husband are doing. I hope you're doing well. Emotionally exhausted says the boys call him T Claire because he's like an eclair, sweet, delicious, and goes straight to your thighs. My God. Rowdy, welcome to Super Lawyer. Boys Mommy Tube says the quartering is super close to Kenosha. Maybe he could go talk to the defense. Faux Chunk says Galaxy Z Fold 3, Nick. No, actually, Microsoft Surface Duo 2. Surface Duo 2. I like the Duo 1, but it was underpowered and had a shit camera. The 2 has a camera on the back at all. It didn't actually, the first one didn't have one on the back. It just had a front facing camera and it was garbage. The camera on this is still not great. So far, still not great. But I have an S21 Ultra for cameras. So I'm not super worried about it, but I like the Surface Duo. Here's what I like about it. Literally, this is it. When I'm done doing something, I go like this and I don't have a phone. I have a thing and I put that thing down. And it's cool. Triax, you're right. Windows Phone should never have died because Windows Phone was actually cool. I was really a big fan. Tenzin Senpei says Derek Chauvin's verdict all over again. I don't think so. UK Rants Vid says following both your streams tonight and they've been very informative. Cheers from across the pond. Good luck, Kyle. Every dog on the street knows you're innocent. Angry Baneling, that's not how all phones are. It's actually not. Other phones, like, they flash up and they light up and you get notifications and all that shit. There's something psychological about closing a phone. And this, I think it's why people like flip phones, in all honesty, and the Z Flip. The Samsung ones, they have the outside screen, though, and you still get all the fucking light up notifications. There's something about closing a phone that tells your brain that you're done. Gun Orama says, please contact Brandon Herrera for firearms or Second Amendment streams. He sent a lot of us over here from his last video. He's full of knowledge that would benefit the show. Oh, believe me, I have full intention of following up with Mr. Herrera. I would love to talk to him. James Cutbirth, thank you for the donation. Kalnar says, hey, Nick, as a criminal investigator, I love your content. I had a batch of embroidered white scar baseball caps made. Drop me a line. I'd love to send you one. Oh, Kalnar, how do I drop you a line? Can you email me or something? I have the super chat in your name, but I don't know how to contact you. Skytrax says, how will you celebrate if Kyle gets declared innocent? With a big fuck you to law Twitter. I have a problem with them, generally speaking. And with a big fuck you to all the weirdos who talked about all the reasons that Kyle was guilty. Yeah, it's that's what's gonna happen. Anthony Simon says, I'm guessing 29 shots is out of the question. Congrats on the well-deserved success. Dude, I had to turn off the shots rule. The streams got way too big and I would be dead. Mark M says Odyssey.com is the future. Geode says still hopeful for BitChute if it can achieve a sustainable funding. Gonna probably be a while though. Look, BitChute is there, but I've had troubles with their interface every time I've tried, and it made me stop trying. It's unfortunate. I hope they're successful. I want them to succeed. But for me, right now, BitChute has not been a pleasurable experience. So I'm not, and my attention is and time is so limited that like I have to move to a platform that has the functionality I need. And with BitChute, I don't know about their video stuff, but just trying to utilize it on my end was always trouble. So I could be stupid. That's not out of the question. But for me, it's not there for me yet. Might be better now, but it's been a while. Jesse Bear 2115. Like I just don't want it to sound like I'm shitting on BitChute. I'm not. But last time I tried it, it just didn't work out for me. So I hope it's successful. I want more competitors to YouTube. Leak from the federal marshal office is 10-2 in favor of acquittal. 2 holdouts are afraid for their safety. Any truth to this? No way to verify it. No way to verify it. AC's drafting says, Your Honor, this trial. Wait, Your Honor, this trial is bullshit. And Mr. Binger knows it. I don't even know where his fingers been, Your Honor. That guy says, My sis is manager at LexisNexis working on getting you sponsored by them. They're looking for new advertising avenues. Oh, that would be sweet. Like, I haven't used Lexus in like 6 years, but I'm open to it. I might have to. Never mind. Max Hines says, Do you think Kyle Rittenhouse will be found guilty on all counts tomorrow? No. Chris Cunningham says, What's up with the Brady violation? They did not provide evidence to the defense. They had evidence. They could have provided the defense. They didn't provide it. I also think Jump Kick Man is a Brady violation, but that is a little bit more interesting. And that came out, that information came to light after they, after they filed their motion for mistrial. Codeine Cowboy says, when I send photos and videos via MMS, it's common for them to be compressed when they are received. Do we know how the defense received the file? Apparently Dropbox, which is not supposed to compress the file as far as I know. I don't know if there's a setting that does it, but every file I've ever received from Dropbox is uncompressed. Woodfoot says, should defense also amend Binger pointed the gun at the jury if true? I mean, he definitely did. That's true. No, they're not going to get anything out of that. Bacon Man says, hey, my birthday is the 21st. Winter babies rise up. Also, random shield in my favorite rap group, the Palmer Squares. Nick, I guarantee you'd like them. Goober Gabber says, Astro Doge smells. Pass it on. John Boyer says, 40 in a month. I turned 40 on December 14th. Come to Hudson. Let's drink. Hey, John, I'm on the 16th, buddy. Just a couple days behind you. XNameX530 says, Binger was living with another man and took a photo with his hand on his butt, but that's none of my business. Kyolus Rex 87 says, hey, Nick, do you know by chance if you read my super chats from today's stream? There were 2 both famous court movie quotes with some slight changes. Read in Richard's voice. P.S. Mersh and Royce, Revenge of the Cis Shill CBDX. Kylos Rex, I want to say I read them, but I don't remember. I remember your name. If I didn't read them earlier, it's hard for me to remember. It's 9.5 hours is a lot of time to think through. I'm sorry. Alan Powell, the real AP, says, am I the only one who thinks the fat prosecutor looks like the rock biter from the Neverending Story? No, he does. You nailed it. He does look like him. My favorite thing is him talking about getting into a fist fight. That man's hands don't even reach his gut. Like he couldn't hit anybody because he'd be hitting his own body. Nathaniel Hyde says, what charge is most likely to get convicted on if they do a compromise verdict? One of the lesser includeds on the reckless endangerment charges, probably against Jump Kick Man or Richie McGinnis. I think that's the most likely, personally. Maybe a lesser included on Gage. Cross crits. Dakabobo says, look at this fake lawyer grifter buying viewers and laundering money through YouTube super chats. Obviously kidding. Keep up the good work, man. Congrats on the 1 million views. Dakabobo, it's my favorite thing I saw from someone who hates me from the Vic Mignogna case is they were laughing that my stream got shut down, right? First of all, they're laughing at that independent creators are having their stream shut down artificially in favor of the mainstream media. But that being said, the other person was like, Ricada? That guy just constantly fails upwards. Hey, pal, bubby, pumpkin, pudding, cupcake. If someone is always failing upwards, they might not be failing. And if you can't figure out why you can't fail upwards ever, Might be because you are failing. I just want to point that out. That's something you got to consider. You got to consider that. Viden the Cold One says, I'll be 34 on November 22nd, anniversary of JFK assassination. Sorry the chat got messed up somehow. Another shit year in New Jersey put me out of my misery. Law knows. Why don't you go bother Joe, right? Good logic. He's in New Jersey. Just go hunt him down. Hang out outside his window or whatever. Sniff his flowers. Jada, just kidding. I just can't think of what else you do in New Jersey. JWC 7215 says definitely do more 1 to 2 minute quick vids that are recaps. They're clips from the stream. Few short clips from you and others have been great to share. There's more coming. Gen X Strong says, hey Nick, been following you since the Vic trial. Appreciate all the great coverage. Congrats on all the new followers. Hey, thanks, Gen X Strong. Raging Rhino says Binger looks like Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg from the Fifth Element. Thank you for your coverage, mate. I've been riveted to this trial. Cheers. HTTR625 says, should we expect deliberation to go late again? God, I hope not. How hard is it? Hope they'll probably go just past lunch. But it could go a whole nother day. 200 Watt Studio says, Binger equals Fluffer 2004. Fatlock equals Twinkie Hoarder. Tricky Ricky says, do you sleep, bro? Not enough. Not enough during this trial. But I sleep well. Will Grice says, why no video from Antioch PD night of? Kyle crying into mom's shoulder. Why did he, Rosenbaum, have to do that? I should have let him kill me. It's not convenient. Fadex the Great says, is it possible for the judge to come down on the Brady violations without it being a full-blown mistrial? Yeah, he could give him a stern talking to. Declan Reed says, do you think when Binger gives the judge an aggressive handy on the boat, he calls it badgering the witness? Toys Are Awful says, Toys Are Awful is a degenerate channel. Why are you playing with toys as a grown man? Don't you think that's weird? Oh, anyway, please sub. He probably wears diapers. Prince Vegeta Son says, I'm pooping. Mardi Gras says, bench trial good. Different strategy how? Available for felonies in North Carolina. Bench trial can be good if the law is clearly on your side. There's a strong argument that in sexual assault cases, especially involving minors or child pornography cases, if you're innocent, that a bench trial may actually be beneficial because the criminal accusation is so prejudicial. In Kyle's case, bench trial won't work because the state has to consent to it. So it's going to be state by state. The different strategy is you're arguing the law rather than arguing on emotions and facts. Super Iron Bob says, check DMs for an idea. YouTube chat window is crashing. Alec Pitt says, when do you sleep? How much do you get? I'm going to sleep I'm going to go upstairs and eat a burrito from Qdoba because it's got brisket in it, and that sounds good. And then I'm going to sleep probably around 3 a.m., and I will wake up at 8 a.m., take a shower, and come down to the show. So 5 hours-ish? Not so bad. You're awake covering the trial all day and stream all night. Get some rest. Gamer Valine says, I build PCs for a living. Is it RAM or VRAM in the error? It doesn't say. There's a big difference. And for the streams, you're doing 32 gigabytes of RAM should suffice. I have 64 gig of RAM. I think I might have a bad RAM stick is the problem. Jacobs HMF says, Binger is going to Kamala his way to VP next election. X says, you need to get your hands on this civil suit stuff. It's so sad it's not being streamed live because it's the funniest stuff ever. Is that Chris Chan's civil suit? Mark M says Odyssey. Brian Duig says, did you miss my 16-month subscriber chat from the beginning of the stream? Yes, YouTube does not preserve those. I'm sorry. I did miss it. Christopher Chapman, and I don't have a way to get it back. Christopher Chapman says, drone video isn't a native res 1920 by 844. So is it a recorded screen grab or cropped? And if so, then it isn't raw footage, more unknown pixels. It's just a common resolution of 1920 by 844. What are you talking about, you bigot? Training Fluid says they sleep 2 hours a day and have no sympathy for me. Yeah, when I was in college, I would sleep 1 to 2 hours a day all the time and be great. Now I'm old. I wish I could have that sleep schedule back and function, but I can't anymore. CH says, I'm out of loop. 20 seconds. Catch me up, Grifter. No. A lot happened. The case should be dismissed with prejudice for a mistrial. There you go. TJ Howard says, if the camera adds 10 pounds, how many cameras were on Krause? All of them. Chestbone says, you should get Brandon Herrera on the live stream tomorrow. He recommended your stream on his last YouTube video. Doug Murray says, I'm 14 beers into a case of month-old PBR. Hints of jockstrap on the nose, bubbles on the tongue, and piss-warm chongo on the throat. Shit, it's 1 a.m. No one important says, just want to thank you, Nick, for all this. That, and I want to say far-left weirdos are big babies, as shown in their responses to this case. Case says, just join the chat. Why hasn't the judge mentioned the difference in video quality? Binger, because the judge doesn't understand. Binger has his whole case hinging on it. It seems too important to not bring up. They just filed the motion on the 15th. Krigler Show says, I came to smash that like button, Nick. Really glad you've gotten such a huge boost, mate. You deserve it all. Thank you. Thank you to the Krigler Show. By the way, you guys should also check out the Krigler Show. Great show. Adam Krigler, former co-host on the Tim Pool podcast, now does his own thing, and his own thing is wonderful. Eugenius Bear says, I'm not a racist. I don't even like fast cars. Bad Burrito says, my $20 chat got skipped earlier. No, it didn't. I just hadn't gotten to it. It says, prosecutor's video is 16 times the resolution than the 212p one they gave the defense. Oopsie. I read that exact chat, but your $20 one. I did read it. Sorry that I hadn't gotten to it. There are a lot of chats tonight. Joel Reese says, let's face it, Raggets. People tuned in for the trial, but stayed for that beautiful, mesmerizing nose. It's hypnotic. Alex says, thanks to you and the other lawyers in this stream, myself and others have had an actual legal look into the case and the legal system rather than the butthole law. Mark Stuber says, there should be full-time independent prosecutors dedicated to prosecuting ADAs for misconduct and state witnesses for perjury in every jurisdiction. Mustaine Fan 69 says, I'm sorry Lemoyne took down your stream before it hit 100K viewers, but nonetheless, I'm happy to see your channel growing so fast, Nikki. Eugenius Bear says, how many prosecutors needed to screw a light bulb? Always 3. Dave A says, can the prosecutor be charged for pointing a gun at the jury? In theory, maybe, but they probably got immunity for it. If pointed at law enforcement officer, it's a stiffer penalty according to Wisconsin law. Ryu Woodware says, am I half asleep or do you look like Al Borland from Home Improvement? Some people have said that. Bames John says, Nick, it's okay to be white. Are you sure? Josiah says, I've only missed a few hours of the past week's live stream. Keep it up. LawTube is by far the best hope for the crap we are in. Dino says, by Kyle's, I meant Kyle's versus Whitley. For Brady, appeal only needs materiality and favorability. There are sub-elements, but harmful error is presumed. Very cool, Dino. I'll have to look into it. I'm not an expert on any of that, so I'll have to look into it, or I'll have to bring it up on tomorrow's live stream. And we'll ask about, Barnes and Bronca if they're there about it, and maybe we can look it up. We'll have time. Fugit 771600 says, does Kyle walk or not? Your personal opinion? I think he does. I don't know if he gets an acquittal, but I think he gets a mistrial. And I'm not as convinced as others that the state's going to bring it again. Eugenius Bear says, Binger knows how to handle a piece. Silence Do Good 1776 says, as a 40K fan, have you ever reached out to Arch? He also has a podcast talking about gaming and pop culture. Yes, I had him on the show. We had a catastrophic internet failure in the middle of the show, so it got cut really short because I wasn't here. I had to go up and be on my cell phone. It was really a problem. I want to talk to him again because I was really enjoying the conversation. And yes, I have had him on the channel. You can find that interview if you search for Ricada Law Arch. You should be able to find it. JG says, when do you think the judge will address the motion for mistrial? Also, your panel's coverage of the case has been awesome. Looking forward to tomorrow. I think that he's not going to address it until after the jury verdict, is my guess. Where do we go? Oh, my goodness. Where the hell? Okay, here we go. Dogman15 says, if Kyle is acquitted, how long do you think he will wait before going after news personalities and organizations and Joe Biden for slander or libel? I don't know how long he's going to wait. I don't think he's got a great case. I mean, he might on some. I'm not familiar with everything everybody said about him, but the political meme says, do you think the law is a profession worth pursuing? If you want to be a lawyer, yes. If you want to make money, no. Short answer. I mean, you can make money as a lawyer. You can make a lot of money as a lawyer. You're going to work really, really hard, and you're going to start at a deficit, a big debt, probably going to law school. And you're also going to start in a deficit of years. You got 4 years of undergrad, and then you got 3 years of law school. And then you got whatever service you have to do to whatever big law firm to get into making money. If people are looking for a way to make money, I don't know. If you're looking for a way to help people through the legal system, yeah, of course, it's the best way to do it. If you want to do that, go do it. Joshua Unseth says, last question for me. Binger said that in Wisconsin, pointing a gun at someone is assault, then did it. Why does he get a pass? Because prosecutorial or litigation privilege, probably, or some immunity from the state for his actions. Spencer Mosher says, so Nick, how much % victim does that make you, to quote South Park? I don't know what % victim. I didn't watch that season of South Park, whatever it is, but we'll say 20. Kevin Brady says the low res version was like likely a proxy file saved to a phone from the DJI drone app, likely separate from HD footage due to collection of an SD card. There you go. Turbo Bastard says very accurate statements about AAA games. When streaming older games, it's been so refreshing. My dental bill will be almost $700. I'm moving out of state. Can I pursue a suit out of state? Yeah, but you probably have to pursue it in the state where it happened. Trooper, not necessarily. You said it was from Taco Bell. You could probably sue them in any state, but you might have to sue the individual franchise, and their insurance might be in that state. So you probably got to sue them where they are. Trooper FN2525 says, I caught your interview with Glenn Beck on Spotify. To think we went from Gas Pump Girls and Diaper Man to Blaze TV. Next stop, own streaming website. Dude, Gas Pump Girls was great. Brian Dewick says, third time's a charm. Cry havoc and let slip the bingers of war. AC's Drafting says, I could build a computer. I did build a computer. And it works. Like I said, I think I've got maybe a faulty RAM stick. Avenging Seraph says, boosting with Shillbucks, as I'm a fan of you both. Jaden Knickerbocker at Ricada Law. Would you ever do a show with Dave Rubin? Yeah, 100%. Would love to. I'm on his platform. I'm on Locals, ricadalaw.locals.com. Would love to talk to Dave. Think he's an interesting guy for sure. Abe Eckstein says, thanks for keeping us all entertained for the past 2 weeks. Pretty neat that you picked up 100,000 new followers. You say neat. I say unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me. It's consistently blowing my mind. I mean, I never thought I would pass 100,000 followers. And I never did. I never thought that would happen because of how YouTube works and how they treat live streams. And then now things are actually blowing up, and it's great. Great. Cinema Queen, yeah, Rumble acquired Locals, but Dave Rubin is still very much involved in Locals. Very much involved. Let's see. Abe Eckstein says, no, read that one. Port Film Co-op says, watch Europa The Last Battle on BitChute. Corey M says, Polax Rise Up. Cowboy Shit says, watch Son of a Tech or reach out to him about getting various crypto wallets set up. Patrick Zalik says, I can't wait to greet you in Poland, spiritually at least. That's the thing. Poland has they either have the Bone Church or the Salt Church. I would love to go to that. Eugenius Bear says, Youngling, America's most Chinese sounding beer. Or is it Yingling? Trent C says, I take it you watch Mr. Llama SC. I've seen a couple of his videos. He's a D2 streamer that had a lot to do with how Blizzard decided to keep keeping D2R true to the original. I watched him get his last item for the Holy Grail run. I watched that little clip. That was cool. But I don't watch him a lot. But I watched a couple of his videos a while back. Turbo Bastard says, glad some are enjoying GTA Remake, but since it's a mobile port, is inexcusable. Plus the bugs and what I consider removal of art design and removing old versions from stores feels like a class action to me. Ryle Kittenhouse says, great stream, boss. I'll see you on the outside. A Gentry says Kyle should charge for his first interview, I think. Well, maybe he should. He should charge a major media platform for any interview they want to do. That would be great. I wish him nothing but the best. Random Game Vids, the Drooling Gamer says, when will the motion to dismiss be discussed in court? I don't know. When the judge wants to do it. Bad Dragonite says, Nick, I'm planning to send you a nifty early birthday gift. Hopefully you like it. Also, hey, I started uploading some music loops to the channel. Cool. Eugenius Bear says, boat buddies for life. Logan Joe, thank you for the donation. Chang Hua says, wow, Nerdrotic tweet about the stream blocked on multiple channels in the Daily Mail UK. Your channel is featured. Very cool. Also, shout out to Nerdrotic. Great dude. Crusader Saracen says, remember when Bronca first appeared on the show all that time ago and he asked you how many kids you got and you smugly told him 5? That was great. Pinky says, when Binger pointed the gun at the jury, he making the jury feel the alleged moment of provocation. Would that be grounds for a mistrial? No, not a mistrial. Angry Baneling says, congrats on 300,000 subs in advance. Hashtag the nose rises. We're not at 300,000. We got like 10,000 to go or something like that, I think. But we have been gaining a lot of subscribers today, actually. We're 288,561. So yeah, we're doing well. Joe Blow says, could the judge recall the jury and tell them to disregard the drone footage and any testimony pertaining to it? Maybe. It's not going to be very effective if he does, though. Better at this point, mistrial. Abe Eckstein says, Kamala Harris failed upwards, but she was going down while rising others up. Amit Nachman says, thank you for the cover. MSM in Israel is puking. U.S. MSM reporting. I have years of LE/military training and would do worse than this kid. He should get a medal. Yeah. The hand of God was on Kyle that night. Just Don says, freekyleusa.org to donate to Kyle's defense fund. Cowboy Shit says, why does Keith Olbermann talk crap on Twitter and hide it with 20 dog posts like Sarah McLachlan commercial? He did that with the quartering. Tonight he did it with a response to Joe Rogan on Tim Pool. Because if he doesn't do that, he knows he's going to get embarrassed. Have you noticed that about the mainstream media? The millions and millions of followers, but they get ratioed left and right. They get absolutely demolished when they confront an actual person. Hell, I mean, fucking Joe Scarborough got demolished by me, and I have a small Twitter account. He got destroyed for being an idiot. Gordo Fabulous says, insert your own Binger bad ram stick joke. Ghost 5103 says, would you cover the Shadman case? Yes, I'll cover it in some way, probably. That guy, that's a weirdo right there. Patrick Stewart says, I admire your dedication to keep up with Super Chats despite the crazy growth of the past weeks. And yeah, invite Brandon Herrera to the stream. Gigi says, we need live coverage of Chris Chan. Send somebody over there with a camera and you'll be a legend. Dex Deadly says, Binger is Justin Hammer from Iron Man. Hashtag not smart. The problem is you have to get permission from the court to actually videotape in the courtroom. So it's not so simple. Hoosier Hawk says, the only time Rosenbaum wore that Antifa Superman suit was when he was trying to lure little children. Turbo Bastard says, hypocrisy of prosecution claiming defense took advantage of judges' naivety of technology, then gave defense compressed video should not go unnoticed. Eugenius Bear says, how deep is Lake Michigan? Asking for a friend. I have no idea. Brian Dewick says, what are the odds that the Vic lawsuit gets snuck in on Thursday? I know how much you love this question. I want it to be resolved. I'm tired of waiting for it. Kipper 1993 says, will the new motion to dismiss based on the new FBI video quality issue matter if the jury doesn't convict Kyle on anything at all? No. Well, if they mistrial from a hung jury, it might matter. If they acquit him, no, it's moot. Tortheo says, if there's a hung jury, can the judge escalate it to a mistrial with prejudice because of jury intimidation? Yes. Status Quo says, there's Binger's finger on the trigger. Eugenius Bear says, holy balls, the salt must flow. Cautiously optimistic, welcome to the channel. Servant of Christ says, commenters talking about Signs versus Kessler and Seville are talking about the Unite the Right rally from August of 2017 in the lawsuit. Oh, that one. Hard to cover due to no broadcast and call in only, no record. Okay. So that's the Charlottesville is the Seville. See, Chris Chan is CWCville. I thought maybe it was an abbreviation of that. Yeah, Charlottesville and Unite the Right is that's an interesting situation. I've not followed Sines versus Kessler at all. Brandon James says, is it possible to have a hung jury mistrial and then see Schrader rule in favor of the defense of the motion of mistrial and dismiss the prejudice? Yes. New to your stream. Love it. Bad Ramstick. Story of my life. Cassette Zero says, shout out to my best friend for turning me onto your channel. Been here since CWC royally fucked up. Keep up the great work. Greg Marquez says, I'd like to see you collaborate with Armed Scholar to talk about Second Amendment in the Supreme Court. Crimsonier says, war is based. Sun Tzu. That's a quote directly from Sun Tzu. Crusader Saracen says, how does the wife feel about the streams blowing up? She would like a break in the trial coverage, I think. I barely see her and the kids during the day right now. So I'm looking forward to a couple days respite. Dapper Wolf says, just seen Salty Cracker's video. Seems as the prosecution had the clear, better drone version of the video the whole time. Looks like it. Oh, it's something in my eye. It's a tear. Mr. Security says, you hit 200,000 subs, almost 300,000. Still no 24-hour stream from hitting 100,000. What the hell, Nicky boy? Congrats. Are you doing live chat Wednesday tomorrow? No, we're going to be on stream. I'm going to have to make up a bunch of live chat Wednesdays, but I have some plans. I really do have some plans for that. On Sunday, Monday, maybe, and Tuesday. So stay tuned on that. Cautiously optimistic. Thanks for the donation. Eugenius Bear says, only Binger has more subs than you. Macroco. Ever heard of Frankie on PC? Was a big gaming YouTuber, left for a few years and just now came back. Said he quit being a lawyer to YouTube full time. No, never heard of him. Very cool. Chris Cunningham says, can judge now toss jury question, do directed verdicts? The judge is not going to do directed verdicts because there are jury questions. So that's not going to happen. Thomas, over on Odyssey, we're almost done. We're almost done. Sorry. I don't mean to interfere with your process. Michael Ross says, why did my pooper start itching after 40? It's a good question. You might need to get some dude wipes. Eugenius Bear says, you have my permission to take a nap. Turbo Bastard says, why do gamers seem to understand the balance between progressivism versus wokeism better than every other group defined by their hobby? Because gamers have been under attack for a very long time. Colfay 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad says, keep your binger finger off the boom switch. Lysander's treason. Ooh. Says, if a juror filed a police report about Binger pointing a gun, wouldn't conflict of interest send that to a special prosecutor in a different county? Might just send him to a different prosecutor in the office. But they're even so, I don't think it's going to happen. And then Commander White Rider says, would you guys, knowing what you know, consider filing the appeal if Kyle gets a guilty charge? You guys being the panel? I'm sure someone on the panel would love to, but it's up to Kyle, not us. And then 2D Harem King Jack says, how many days do you think till you pass Flash? I have no idea. I don't know what Flash is at. And then finally, Wicked Deed says, we recently found your channel and love your content. For any of your viewers that enjoy true crime podcasts, we're a new show that you can find wherever you listen to podcasts. Keep up the great work. That's Wicked Deeds, guys. Check it out. Guys, we're done. We're done. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you for making it a wonderful show and showing up. And I did not nighttime stream having 20,000 viewers at starting at 11 p.m. is insanity. It's insanity. Jason McConnell says, last show I saw was the diaper expert stream with Drex. Anything new since then? Yes. Kyle Rittenhouse has happened. Okay, guys. Bob Piffle says, NT Wright, after you believe why Christian character matters, pour one more, sit back and watch. NT Wright is fantastic. I love his book on Matthew, his books, I think on Matthew. I was reading through those. Eugenius Bear says, good night, sir. All right. Good night, guys. I hope to see you tomorrow. For Kyle Rittenhouse, the link will go up in just a few minutes. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
You're my lawyer?
Says here you robbed a hospital. Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm not guilty.
That's not what the other lawyer said.